Hi, folks. Bob Mannery here. You're listening to A2D Radio, real sports talk radio for the fans, by the fans, no agenda. These guys are the best in the business. Hashtag it. No notes.
Good evening, everyone. A2D Radio, live from the Real Talk Studios, Mount Ephraim, New Jersey. This is the Sports Hounds with you till 10 o'clock. Brad Ryer, as always, to my right. Frank Vesby on the ones and twos producing the show. And Eagles fans, all at once right now. Let it in and let out the sigh of relief that was the 9:30 London game. Doug Peterson and the boys get it done across the pond, 24-18. Wasn't easy, wasn't a get-right game. It was a struggle, just like I thought it'd be. But a win is a win is a win is a win. This ball club is 4-4 through 8 games. Less than stellar 4-4. They've
suffered some injuries yesterday too.
They did, and we're going to get to those.
Ones.
We're going to get to those.
Some bad ones.
Right? Yes, Lane Johnson being the king of those injuries. But we've let out the sigh of relief. Doug Peterson did his job. Jim Schwartz did his job. Great rebound game from Jim Schwartz, I thought, by the way. Brought some pressure. Overcame injuries in the secondary. Did a great job.
I thought the Eagles' offensive play calling was pretty good too. I mean, it was when the Jags put in that one cornerback who was a complete rookie.
Yeah, they
the Eagles
overcame
went
two
right after him.
I mean, Carson.
That's just smart play calling by the Eagles.
They got it done. The boys got it done. Doug got it done. Jim Schwartz got it done. You win 24-18, and now we shift the spotlight directly to Howie Roseman. This man needs to make a trade. He needs to make a trade because if this team doesn't make a trade and goes forward as constructed with the talent and the injuries that they have going forward after that London game, I'm going to continue the narrative that I echoed after the Minnesota game, that I don't see this team getting to a winning record. I have them going 8-8. Average team, average talent. If you make a trade, and that brings us to the Scanzano Sports poll question of the night, what's the Eagles' biggest need? Secondary, running back, wide receiver. We're going to disqualify offensive line because obviously they need offensive line. Every team in the league needs offensive line. Offensive line's just not out there right now. You got to draft your offensive line or overpay for your offensive line, which, Brad, I'm sure your Giants know all about.
And that didn't work.
So we're not going to talk about O-line, even though they obviously need O-line with Lane Johnson out a month. I think it's running back. You got to get one of those three things. I want offense. As much as everyone wants to.
I thought the rookie running back yesterday from Notre Dame did a pretty nice job.
Josh Adams. And you know what, Brad? He was 3.5 quarters. 3.5 quarters, he proved me wrong. And I was getting myself all ready to swallow my pride and admit I was wrong about Josh Adams. And then he almost fumbled the season away. So I cannot trust Josh Adams to be a feature back. Almost fumbled the season away.
But he could be an effective part of a three-headed
Perfect.
monster.
Perfect.
I mean, I'm just saying if they can't get
you can't have a three-headed
back,
monster with no monsters. The Eagles don't have any monsters in the backfield
right now. Unless as you said, unless they can bring somebody in, this is what you have.
Howie needs to make a trade. Of the three positions, running back, secondary, safety, corner, whatever, we're lumping into secondary.
I think the secondary
and wide receiver.
I think the secondary.
You got to get me at least one guy. You got to make a trade for me. You have 11 draft picks. You don't need 11 draft picks. You got to go out and make a trade. Because with as constructed, if Howie doesn't make any trades, I think the Redskins are a better football team than the Eagles.
Let me ask you a question.
I do. This team needs reinforcements.
A New York Philly trade here. Janoris Jenkins.
Bring him in.
For a fourth.
Bring him in.
For a fourth.
I would prefer the
Will
Eagles.
you give me a third or a fourth for him?
Yes.
Give me a fourth.
Isn't his contract? What's his contract situation?
It's up this year.
Okay, so he's a rental.
Right. But
so,
you can re-sign him if you like him and he plays well.
I wouldn't be opposed to that. I think Janoris Jenkins is
I like
a good
guys
corner.
like that. I like guys like that.
Janoris Jenkins is better than Ronald Darby. Jalen Mills is hurt. Sidney Jones is hurt. I would be totally open. I mean, the price, you're not going to get much from me because he's in a contract.
No, I would want a fourth. If you get to the Super Bowl, then I would make it a conditional third if you get to the Super Bowl.
Cool. Fine.
That would be a
What
fair
do I
trade.
need 11 draft picks for? I don't need 11
We need
draft
as many
picks.
as we can.
I don't need 11 draft picks. Janoris Jenkins.
Rob and I have just
made a trade.
We've just made a trade.
Okay, so the Eagles
Howie,
officially.
are you listening?
Yeah. See how easy that was? We just made a trade right here on the new comfy chairs here in the Real
I'm
Talk
not an Eagle
studios.
fan, but you know what? This is what both the Giants need to do, and this is what the Eagles need to do. Sit down. Don't worry about who you're trading with. Just go and do it.
Well, I would never trade. If I were in your position, I would never trade with the Eagles.
You know what? If you're giving me a fourth and a conditional third with a conditional chance at a third,
yeah. But what is your idiot team going to do with a fourth-round pick? Screw it up?
Well, we've already got a couple of them. So listen. If you add enough of them together, maybe you could trade up. I mean, I don't know. I mean, at this point,
Janoris Jenkins, I want offense. But I'm not going to turn my nose up at Janoris. I think he's a good player, and he would clearly help. I want offense. Despite this defense being the whipping boy of the city right now, they give up 19 points a game. Just under 18 point whatever.
Right.
That's pretty good in today's NFL. This isn't 2005, and it's certainly not 1995. The 17-10 game is non-existent in today's NFL. Teams don't win like that anymore. Any tackle that would make a blue collar
20 points a game in order to win a game in the NFL. If you don't score at least 20, you're not winning. Plain and simple.
Yeah, I totally agree.
You're not going to win 13 to 10. It doesn't happen anymore.
I'd love for them to make. I need a receiver or back or both.
Well, I think your receivers are pretty daggone good, if you ask me.
Daggone. They need.
Alshon Jeffrey is playing
spectacular.
He is playing like a top 5
Zach
receiver
Ertz
right now.
is spectacular.
Absolutely.
But past that, I mean, who does Carson have that he can rely on?
Well,
Nelson
Aguilar's
showed.
He's not bad.
Yeah, he finally showed his face for the first time.
But he's not a bad receiver.
He's a slot receiver.
Okay, but he's like a second or third. He's like a third fiddle on your team. And that's fine. That's what he is.
But you need to maximize Carson Wentz because Carson Wentz is in MVP form.
But nobody in the league can cover Jeffrey right now.
Okay,
I mean,
that's one guy.
He was tearing up Jalen Ramsey yesterday. I mean, Jalen Ramsey actually shut his mouth yesterday a couple of times because Jeffrey was abusing him. Nobody can cover that guy.
I get it.
Right now, he might be.
He's great.
He's a top 5 receiver in the league.
I 100% agree. Since he's come back, he's been an absolute madman.
I mean, the guy's a beast.
He's not, but you have.
He's reminding
You have
me,
Jeffrey on the outside. You have Aguilar.
Owens.
You have
He's
Aguilar
so
in the slot, and then you have Ertz and Goddard and 2 tight end sets. You need a guy on the outside. And don't tell me Jordan Matthews had 94 yards receiver because I'm just going to laugh in your face. That guy stinks.
He wasn't terrible yesterday.
Yeah, a blind squirrel finds a nut every once in a while.
Well, you guys really do not have the love for Jordan Matthews.
I hate Jordan. I didn't even like him when he was on Chip having 80 catches a year. He's just a meh player.
But
he's
he's
not a fourth receiver.
He's your fourth receiver, though.
He's not, though.
Okay, well,
you need a guy on the other side of Alshon Jeffrey that can run a 4.3 40.
Well, I mean, there's not that many of those guys in the
I
league
understand.
right
You
now.
know what I mean. This team needs a burner that can stretch the field.
So what about Deshaun Jackson?
I would love Deshaun Jackson, but I don't think
He
Tampa.
asked for a trade.
I understand that, but
maybe
that was
he'll-
before Ryan Fitzpatrick got the starting job back. If you look,
Oh,
at
he likes Ryan
If
Fitzpatrick.
you like,
I forgot.
if you look at the Deshaun Jackson splits
Yeah.
with Ryan Fitzpatrick as opposed to Jameis Winston, Ryan Fitzpatrick looks his way and he gets his numbers, whereas for whatever reason Winston only wants to throw the ball to Mike Evans. So I don't think for that reason, and that reason only, I think Tampa Bay will keep Deshaun Jackson, and he won't.
Okay,
The-
two gun Tommy, by the way. The trade deadline is tomorrow. He wants Parker. I think you're asking for the moon there with him.
Asking for the moon? What do you mean?
You think-
asking for the moon?
That's
That's option 2.
Okay.
You're telling me a 4th-round pick or a 3rd-round pick doesn't get me Devontae Parker?
Why would they trade him though?
Because they're horrible.
Yeah, but
Miami stinks.
Yeah, but isn't he? I mean, but
I don't
he's-
know. It hasn't
he's
worked
cheap.
out for him down there. This isn't like breaking
but
news.
He's pretty cheap though. I mean, they can keep him and try to build.
I
with him.
understand, but for whatever reason, this guy Gase, I don't think he has a clue.
I think you're right about that.
And for
Parker
whatever
would be a
reason,
good
Parker
player,
was
I
what, the
mean.
14th pick in the draft, Frank? 10th pick in the draft, something like that?
I believe
First
he
rounder
is
for
the,
sure.
Yeah, I believe it was a first rounder.
For whatever reason, this guy can't get it together and be a productive first-round pick for them. I mean,
Yeah. Okay. What about talking to the Cleveland Browns about maybe Jarvis Landry?
they just signed him to mega money.
Oh,
Yeah.
how much is he paying? How much is
lot.
he getting paid? Oh, all right.
A lot.
But how much of it is actually if they traded him? How much would the
I don't know.
Eagles
You're not
have to
getting
pick
Jarvis
up?
Landry. That's
Yeah,
ridiculous.
there's no way.
That's ridiculous.
Okay.
You-
Just
and
looking
then,
at some-
and then
Just looking at some of the
the
guys. on
Bills
teams
aren't. I don't think Shady gets traded.
No, they're not
Past that,
trading
I
him.
don't see a running back out there.
Hmm.
I mean,
We
Matt-
kind of went through Frank Gore.
Mataraki brought up Devontae Booker on,
Denver.
I guess,
I don't like any of
the Wednesday show.
I don't like any of the.
AM and the PM.
AM and the PM. Thank you, Frank.
I don't like any of the running backs on Denver, to be honest with you.
I get them and agree to disagree confused. I can't keep who's who on what show. I'm not that smart.
Bryce Blackwell wants Emmanuel Sanders. Yes, that would be.
That'd
like
be
him.
awesome.
That would be. He'd be.
That'd
that
be
would be
awesome,
awesome.
but yesterday he had like the broken wrist problem, but I don't even know what the full extent of that
Let me
was.
get the Facebook. So I want offense. 18 point whatever points a game. Just under 19 points a game by this defense. That's good enough to win in the NFL when you have Carson Wentz as your quarterback. You need to surround this guy with speed and talent and just score 30. Look at the Chiefs play football. Look at the Rams play football. Look at the Packers play football. That's how you play in 2018. I know
And
that
the
makes
Saints.
the Saints.
And the Saints. I mean,
Whoever you want, whatever good team you want to throw in there, that's how you play. You win games 30-24, 30-20, 29-27. Especially when Todd Gurley can't get in the end zone for
well, Todd Gurley is about the only guy
reasons
who actually
obvious
has
to
some,
most of our,
he has a little-
our audience.
He has a little integrity, I guess. I don't know.
Yeah, the one guy
one
who
guy,
has, the
yeah,
one
he's
guy who's not a show off.
Yeah, you're right.
He's got to run out of bounds and freaking not cover the spread.
And
I
he
lo-
also didn't get the over because of that too.
I didn't have the over. I had the Rams.
No, I'm just
I had
saying
the
a lot
Rams
of people.
win.
I heard a lot of
The
people
Rams
on the
mi-
radio
yeah,
this
the Rams
morning were,
-7. Yeah,
were
he
mad about
screwed
not getting
everything
the over.
up.
Yeah, he did.
He probably had
He
the
did.
Packers in the under. I want a full investigation.
Oh,
Goodell
boy.
likes all these investigations. Let's investigate that one. Ridiculous. How many people you think lost their fantasy game by 5 or fewer points because of that?
Oh boy, can you? Yeah, that would be a very
Probably a lot.
aggravating kind of situation.
All right, let's go to the Facebook board. Brought to you by Gibson Meyer LLC. Certified accountants. Visit GibsonMeyerLLC.com. Michael Wesley Chromiak. Hey, fellas, I definitely think it's the secondary. I can't say that you're wrong. I can't say that Chromo's wrong because he clearly is. Especially, he's clearly not wrong. But I think 19 points a game by this defense, I think that's good enough to win games in this league.
Their secondary is not good though. I mean, it really isn't. They do get picked apart. They have a great defensive line, and if they're able to get in and rush the quarterback, that's fine. But if they can't do it, nobody can put pressure on a quarterback every single play, and their secondary just isn't very good right now.
But the likelihood of this team making 3 trades for those three positions in the poll question, Highly
That's
unlikely.
asking a lot in football. That
I
just
would
doesn't
even say
happen.
2 trades is asking.
If you get one
way too
trade,
much.
if you get one trade,
If
that's
you
probably
if I ranked them, I would put secondary 3rd. But like I said, I can't fault
I think he's gonna
anyone for thinking
I
that this
think
team
he's-
needs secondary.
I mean, he is gonna try to make a trade. Don't kid yourself.
No,
I mean,
I don't need him to fucking try and make a trade. I need him to make a trade.
But
I
if-
need him to earn his
But you
paycheck
can't.
and make this team
But
better.
you can't expect him to overpay either.
Why? You have 11 draft picks.
Yeah, but suppose somebody
The
starts.
level of expectation was raised last
but if
February in
somebody's gonna
Philadelphia.
Start, but if somebody's going to
An
start
8-8
with getting
season and a second place finish to the Redskins is absolutely unfucking acceptable.
Oh, I would agree with you there. I'd agree with you there. But
And
I mean, I
without
gotta
without
be honest with you,
reinforcing,
watching the Redskins and the Eagles, I think the Eagles are still a little bit better.
there's steak to the Redskins sizzle. I think the Redskins are a lot better
Oh,
than
they-
the general public's giving them credit for.
Oh, they are, and they have a terrific defense. And I'll tell you what, their defensive line is for real.
They're excellent. Ryan Kerrigan
they're-
is excellent.
Their defensive
They
line
stole
is,
Adrian Peterson. Alex
for
Smith,
real.
I don't care what anybody says. Alex Smith is better than Kirk Cousins.
He's
Kirk
a
Cousins,
smarter- you know
Kirk
what? He's
Cousins
a
is such a
smarter-
fraud. I hate hearing about Kirk
He's a
Cousins.
smart.
He's
You know
a
what?
fraud.
Alex Smith is a smart quarterback. He's
And
not
Jay
great,
Gruden,
but he's
Gruden's
very,
a good coach, and their defense, I don't really know. Other than Kerrigan, I couldn't name you 3 other players on their defense. but
you
they're
could name.
playing,
You could name
well,
one.
Josh Norman.
Yeah. Yeah, but Josh
But-
Norman is that's a key player though. You got a shutdown corner.
All right, Greg Milikovic checking in. What up, fellas? Is head coach an option? That's
Oh,
ridiculous.
come
That's ridiculous. I'm kidding, kinda. I'm going to go with running back. I can't keep putting my hopes into a 36-year-old guy coming back off injury. He's got to upgrade. The 36-year-old is Darren Sproles. I don't know when he's going to play. Nobody knows when he's going to play. Maybe against Dallas after the bye. Running back is a huge hole.
Yeah,
in
and
this
if
team.
he gets hit
And
a
I was
couple of times,
almost
he'll
going to
be
have
fine.
to admit I was wrong about Josh Adams because he was playing a great game until he almost fumbled the season away. I can't have that as my best running back. Josh Adams.
Tell you what, though, he did show some explosiveness yesterday, and that Jacksonville team is not an easy team to run the football against.
Understood. That's why I almost had to admit I was wrong about Josh Adams yesterday, and that I could cross running back off my list and give the ball to Josh Adams. I was sadly mistaken.
Well,
And
the problem-
Corey Clement.
I mean,
Corey Clement. I mean,
who are
holy
they playing?
God, what
when
is
do
he
they,
doing this
When do
year?
they play the Redskins? By the way, is that the next game for them?
No, they play there. They are home against Dallas after the bye. Then
Wow. They're at the Redskins?
Then they're at the Saints, and then Frank, can you pull up the schedule?
Yeah, for
Wait, so
It's
they've got Dallas
at home
New
and
Orleans?
then at New Orleans. Are the
Eagles
next
schedule.
two.
All right.
Wow, that's a
Let me get through some of these
Let me
comments
confirm
here.
that.
Mo Green is running back.
Yep.
Definitely in need. That's the next two. What is it? When do they play the Redskins?
They play the Redskins Monday Night Football, December 3rd.
So 2 late games.
Yep.
Dion Brown. What's up, Dion?
how you doing there, Dion?
What's going on, guys? Poll question. We need all of them, but I'd say running back first, wide receiver, and quarterback. Are
How about
tied for
Isaiah
second.
Crowell from the Jets? We talked about him last week.
Great.
He's another
Great.
he's another
Not a
guy that would
consummate,
not a grain breaker, but he's just a solid player. He doesn't fumble the football.
solid, consummate professional. Would love him.
He's like
That'd be great. How much could he cost?
a third or a fourth round, maybe a fourth round pick.
Let's
I
do
mean,
it.
the Jets,
Let's get it
listen,
done.
The Jets are going to be moving some guys.
The Jets are horrible.
And they're probably going to be firing their coach. So I would think that it.
I don't know about that. I mean,
Let me tell you something. 7 illegal procedure penalties yesterday. They
What,
are
is Todd
going
Bowles?
bananas. That is coaching,
Todd
Rob.
Bowl?
That is undisciplined. 7 illegal procedure penalties.
It's a lot.
If the Eagles did that, you'd be going out of
Yeah.
your mind.
But like I said, the expectations around Philadelphia went up last February.
I understand
If we were the
that, but
fucking Jets and we had 7, I'm not.
illegal procedure
Who
penalties.
cares? You're the Jets.
But you can't do that. That's terrible.
You're right. It's a
coaching.
5-yard penalty. It's against the rules. You 100% cannot do that.
I mean, that is how is your team that undisciplined to be jumping offside 7 times?
Mr. Nick Gus checks in. What's going on with the secondary in the second half of games? We were playing too much zone or what? You know, the secondary is just not good. it's just not that good. That's what's going on with the secondary. You gotta scheme it better. I mean, I don't know what to do. I'm not an X and O football mind like the esteemed Jim Schwartz is, Frank, but they closed yesterday and they're 4-4.
David Rosca.
They closed yesterday. They're 4-4, and the season's not over.
David
That's all that
Rosca
matters right now.
wants the Rams to make some trades. He says they've got a pair of 2s and a pair of 4s and a pair of 6s.
The
So with
Rams
1, 2,
make
3.
trades. I mean, how much?
He
He can't
wants-
have any cap
He wants
space.
Dante Fowler or Shane Ray. I don't know where they're getting cap space from, though.
Well, that's just being an obnoxious front-running fan by Ryan. I love Rosca. It pains me to say that about him, but I mean, come on. You think the Rams are gonna be adding tomorrow?
Who do they really need?
Best team in the league. Like what?
I mean,
I don't get it. They might go. Well, they got to tussle against the Saints next week, and then after that,
I
they
believe the
play
Rams are going to
Chiefs.
be 8-2. To be honest with you, after the next 2
You
weeks,
gotta-
I think
you
they're
losing
going
to the
down.
Saints and
They're going to go down to the Saints, and they're going down to Kansas City.
I think you're right about them going down to Kansas City.
I think they're going down to New Orleans too.
Um,
New Orleans right now is really playing good football.
yeah, but they've won 6 in a row since dropping their opener to Tampa Bay. They're due for a little loss after a big win last night. I'll take the Rams there.
Well, I'll tell you what, though, they've had some very impressive wins. I mean, they got off to a terrible start, and you had to be thinking after the first 2 weeks they just barely beat Cleveland after losing and really getting
the Saints
hammered
okay.
and getting hammered by Tampa. But boy, oh boy, that team is really playing good football right now. I mean, they're demolishing everybody.
They're a stud team.
They chewed up Minnesota and spit them out yesterday on the road, and the Saints never do that on the road. I mean, they're right now. It doesn't matter where they play you. They're eating every. Listen, look what they did to Washington, and Washington's a pretty good team. They destroyed Washington.
They did.
I mean, right now that team right now is a very dangerous football team, and I do not think the Rams are going into New Orleans and winning that game. As a matter of fact, I don't think there's any way they're doing that. The Rams
Bet you
have
$1.
won-
I'll bet you $1.
I will bet you the
$1.
dollar.
All right.
The Rams, listen.
Bet is on.
Listen, the Rams were very, very fortunate the last couple of weeks to be winning these games. I mean, you don't think if Green Bay had got the ball back yesterday, they couldn't have went down the field and scored against them?
Brad, what's it called when you almost lose?
Oh, it's still winning.
It's called winning. That's what the Rams do. They've
no,
done it every week.
I understand,
For
but
2 months,
but
they've
they are
done
playing,
it every week.
But they are, in my
And the
opinion,
Packers stink, by the way. They have Aaron Rodgers, and no, they played out of their minds yesterday on defense.
Speaking of the Packers,
the Packers stink.
I've heard Clinton Dix is another one that might be on the.
That's a
might
very
be
good
available.
point, Brad. That would be an excellent acquisition for
He's
Howie
another one.
Roseman.
He's another one that I've heard.
Clinton Dix.
Yeah, no. By the way,
That sounds like a bad political joke waiting to happen.
That is his name. So if anybody is gonna start busting my chops about that, that is his name. And he's real good, by the way.
Haha's
He
pretty
would
good.
be.
Let's
he'd be-
manage our expectations a little bit. There's a reason he's on the trade block.
I don't know why. Maybe this is his walk year. I don't know.
Another name that
think it is
surfaced on
his-
the trade block out of nowhere today was Golden Tate. I don't think he's a fit here because he's a slot receiver, and I'd rather have Nelson Aguilar in the slot. But that's
He's okay.
something to think about.
He's not enough of an upgrade. I mean, if you want to get a
third
guy,
or fourth round pick is
get a little-
supposedly
get a
going
little
to
oomph.
get that. done.
I would say a fifth. I would think you could get him for a fifth. I mean, I think you can do better than him. I think you could do better than that.
Brad, they have to make a trade.
And there are plenty of teams that would be willing to facilitate you.
Well,
I'm
if
sure
it gets
San
to if
Francisco-
it gets to 3:30 tomorrow afternoon, and Golden Tate for a fourth round pick is the only
Well,
deal
then
on
do
the
it.
table
Then
that
you do
helps one of those three things in the poll question, I'm doing it.
Okay.
If Howie Roseman's stagnant, I'm going to blow a gasket. He can't be. He cannot be silent
I think
at
he will
that.
be. I think he will be active. I think the Saints, from what I
He
heard, the Saints
can't
are going to be
do
very active.
nothing.
He won't not do anything. He'll do something. He'll try to make a splash. if it's there for him to have, he'll.
It doesn't have to be a splash. You need bodies in this secondary. You need.
Well, I think you also want to get a guy who you think is going to be the right fit too. For your system.
Okay, a good player is a good fit.
Agreed. I'm just putting it out there that you want to get the right guy too.
Keith Holton, I think a RB1 would be huge. Not much difference statistically from last year with the secondary, but an RB1 would be huge for us. Make the fucking trade. P.S. How about that tackle by Wentz on that interception too? Yeah, Carson Wentz is a stud. Carson Wentz is the brightest star in the sky. You follow the brightest star in the sky, you find your way home. Carson Wentz is the shit. He is 100% back from his knee injury. He just did you see some of these throws he made after turning the ball over twice early? Which he turned the ball over once, because if that's not the tuck rule on that first fumble, I don't know what is. He threw a bad interception to Jalen Ramsey in the end zone.
Yeah, but that's going to happen. It's his first one of the year.
Yeah, but not in double coverage, though.
It was a bad pick. He shouldn't be doing that in the red zone.
But it's his first. Listen, you can't get on your quarterback too much.
I
he has one
demand
quarterback in 8 games.
And plus,
Okay.
our friend Wendell Smallwood was wide open as well.
See,
listen,
Brad, you
quarterbacks
see,
are
this is
going
not
to
this is not the
occasionally-
stinky New York Giants where we stand up and cheer
But
when we
one-
get a first down and go 10 yards. The
Well, for the
expectations have been raised in this city.
but the Giants.
Second place
stink.
is unacceptable. Howie needs
listen,
to make a trade.
You need to get into the tournament. That's what you need to do.
I don't want to get into the fucking tournament. I
You
want
have
to
to
win
get
the
into the
fucking tournament.
Okay.
You
but have
play
get
to
in.
win the game.
You have to get into the tournament.
That's such an
first.
Andy
Ugh.
Reid bullshit mentality. Oh, you got to get in the tournament, then you see what happens.
Well,
No.
you got to get there.
How about
first.
we go to the tournament, guns blazing like we did last year?
But you're not going to have home field advantage this year,
Okay,
so it's not going
That's
to be
fine.
as easy. That's all I'm saying.
that's fine. That doesn't mean you can't go into the playoffs
You may have
on
to,
a 5-game win streak as the 3 seed because you made a big-time trade at this deadline. Maybe not
let's
even a
put it this
big-time
way, Rob.
trade.
If
You
you
can
don't
make
make-
it. You can get an unheralded guy at the deadline.
If you don't make a big trade, okay, you're going to end up having to beat Minnesota in Minnesota, New Orleans in New Orleans, and the Rams in L.A.
And that's not happening.
That's
If
impossible.
Howie Roseman does nothing, this team's not making the
If you have to-
playoffs.
If you have to go through
They
that,
100% will
you have
not
to-
make the
if you have
playoffs.
to go through
If
that
Howie
gauntlet, that's
Roseman does nothing,
impossible.
the Eagles will go 8-8, finish second, and the Redskins will win the division at 10-6.
yeah, nobody.
That's what's going to happen.
The
You have to
the
make a
72
trade.
Dolphins couldn't go through that.
I don't want to hear. I don't want to fall into the category of the latest Super Bowl champion to miss the playoffs the following year. That's unacceptable. Not with Carson Wentz in his prime. Unacceptable. Howie Roseman, the spotlight is on. He's got to make a trade. Get your franchise quarterback toys, more toys. Get me Devontae Parker. Get me Devontae
David Roscoe
Booker.
says the Rams
Get
will
me-
be ready, and he's calling you out, Frank.
Oh,
Roscoe's calling you out. The Rams will be ready, Frank Vespi, this Sunday against the Saints. David, they're gonna kick your asses.
No, I think
it's
you're wrong.
The
gonna be
Rams
it's
are
gonna be
going
an
to be
entertaining
going-
game.
The
You're gonna-
Rams
I'll
are
say
going
that.
into New Orleans.
You're going to
and
owe me
they
$1.
are going. It's going to be 45-31 Saints, and they are going to
yeah.
score early and often. Yes, the Rams will score some points because the Saints are always
Yeah.
going to get. But the Saints always get a couple of turnovers, and usually when they get them, they're either pick sixes or devastating ones that break your heart.
Let me take a look at the lines for
Get
this
me
upcoming game.
Absolutely think
Mike Parker wants
that they will
Patrick.
do that.
Mike Parker wants Patrick Peterson. I don't think that's happening, Mike. You can
He's
get
not
me-
going. He's not going to the.
You can get me Patrick Peterson.
First of all, he wants to go to New Orleans, which is really scary.
Yeah,
Well, he wants to go to New Orleans because he went to LSU. It's where he's from.
right.
Okay, but I'm just saying he wants to go to New Orleans.
Well, you know what? I want $1 million.
But here's the thing:
You
the
don't always
Cardinals-
get what you want.
But
Yeah.
the Cardinals might, because he's such a respected player from that team. The Cardinals might, if they do trade him, they might send him where he wants to go. scary part.
Kyle Meager, other O-line. I mean, where are you going to find O-line help in Week 8?
You're not going to.
You got to draft.
Nobody.
You
Yeah,
gotta
you have to
gotta
look for the
draft.
draft.
You got to
That's not
draft
happening.
O-linemen or overpay for O-linemen and free agents. Right, Brad? Overpay
Yeah, that
O-linemen
doesn't
and free agents.
overpaying offensive linemen doesn't work.
You're
by
good
the
at
way.
that.
Well, yeah.
one thing you
we
guys
got
are
we
good
got
at
a
up
real
there.
piece of garbage from New England, don't we?
Well,
Let me
that's what
take a
hap-
look at our.
Nate Solder.
That's what
Let's see.
happens
What
when
a piece of. Oh, and Mr. Yo Mama.
that guy's horrible.
Or no, excuse me, Joe Mama.
Joe Mama.
That even sounds worse. That even sounds more
He
more
stinks.
rude.
That
Joe
guy's
Mama.
terrible.
Man,
He's another
you
one.
got, you got Joe Mama and Ha Clinton
thought-
Dix. It's like
I legitimately feared him being broken
Middle
in
school
half
all
by
over
Fletcher
again.
Cox.
Which one? Joe Mama.
The whole that
the whole
Mama.
offensive line is terrible. Are
All right, Zach biting. I wish the Eagles would
like
try
Rutgers.
and get a guard. O-line is premium in the NFL, but I saw them targeting the one guy from Oakland probably for a bag of chips. I haven't read any rumors regarding the Oakland Raiders and an offensive line.
I haven't heard anything about
It
it.
does
I haven't
appear
heard
that
that
the
either.
Oakland Raiders are open for business. So if they
Yeah.
have a guard they're willing to trade, why
lot
don't
of
we
shopping.
say, let's send them on over. I'm in.
There's the rumors with Derek Carr being shipped.
Derek
we
Carr-
already
Who are
saw Amari Cooper getting shipped.
who are
Carl
their running-
Joseph, another
Derek
one.
Who are
Carr-
their running backs, by the way, Oakland? Didn't they get somebody that was pretty good?
They
in
have
the offseason?
Marshawn Lynch,
Lynch is on IR.
Jalen Richard,
Jalen Richard. He's
Jalen
French.
Richard,
Yeah, he's not coming.
and Doug Martin.
Which Doug Morton.
Doug Martin. Doug Martin's an interesting case. Doug Martin, when he wants to play, he can be one hell of a player. But
Deion Brown.
He's such a weirdo though. I
Yeah.
just don't know about him.
Deion Brown. I have the Eagles winning in New Orleans. Don't think I'm crazy, but I do. But the Cowboys come first in the 2000 era to date. Eagles always play the Saints tough. Even the playoff games, 1 or 2 catch balls, that game would have gone different. Foles didn't play bad at all in that game.
I
mean,
don't see the Eagles going into New Orleans.
I
and
picked them to
winning.
win. I picked them to beat the Saints at the beginning of the year.
Yeah. I don't see that happening right now.
Let's beat the Cowboys first.
Yeah. Well, yeah.
Yeah.
But I don't
Let's
see
beat
them.
the Cowboys
I don't
first
see them going
on
into
Sunday
New
Night
Orleans and winning.
Football, and then we can go at it.
I mean, perhaps
And we
if
can
New
worry
Orleans
about the
if New
Saints.
Orleans beats the Rams, perhaps they could have a letdown against the Eagles.
And
but
let's be clear about it. If the
I
Eagles,
doubt it. They're the Super Bowl champions. Nobody has a letdown when they play the Super Bowl champions. Everybody wants to play that team. That's your measuring stick.
Giants did.
Yeah, and the Giants got clobbered.
They rolled right over.
Well, they've been doing
You
that
said-
pretty
you
much
said,
regularly.
You said nobody. Everyone gets up and gives the Super Bowl champs their best effort. The Giants didn't. So you're wrong.
Well, they did for
Giants
a quarter.
suck. They suck.
They did for a quarter.
Stink.
They do stink. They really do. Although I'll tell you what, yesterday their defense really gave it the old college try. I thought their defense was brilliant yesterday.
Yeah, they tried their best, and then Adrian Peterson went all the way down the field.
On the last drive of the game, when they were physically exhausted from being on the field the entire game because the offense did absolutely nothing against that defense, because every time Eli Manning dropped back to pass, by the time he took the third step, they were already grabbing and tugging at his jersey. And as much as I'd like to kill Eli and say Eli's done, why is Eli playing anymore? I mean, their offensive line is so bad, it's not even fair to criticize Eli Manning right now because he has no shot.
He is the biggest dork to ever win a Super Bowl ever.
Well, he won 2.
He's a dork.
He won 2, and he was a 2-time Super Bowl MVP.
He's a dork.
When he was in his prime, he was one hell of a quarterback.
He is the biggest nerd in the NFL.
Yeah, but you know what?
He
never
stands there.
Never got in trouble.
He gets planted on every play. Frank just did it.
The Eli face.
Listen.
That's stupid. I just got caught smoking a joint look that he has on his
30,
face.
He's 37
Oh,
years
he's
old,
a
and he
total-
can't move anymore.
He's a total sweat. The guy fucking blows, dude.
At this point of
Yeah,
his
his
career, he's
time
not
is-
He
good.
was never that
He's
great.
Oh, that's not true. He was very
He's
good.
never-
when
He
was in
had
his
good
prime, and
seasons, but
Okay.
I just never
How many
considered
times-
him as a.
How many times was Eli?
Amazing.
How many times was Eli Manning a top 5 MVP candidate? 0.
Probably
0.
yeah, none.
0.
Don't know.
None.
Can't remember.
None. And
Yeah.
people want to tell me he's in the Hall of
I
Fame.
do remember. I think he is going to be in the Hall of Fame.
He's in the Hall of Fame.
Two Super Bowl MVPs.
That would totally delegitimize the Pro Football Hall of Fame.
Thrown for over
It would mean
50,000
if Eli
yards.
Manning gets in the fucking Hall of Fame, the NFL Hall of Fame means nothing.
I think you're. I think you're out to lunch
the
with
guy
that one.
stinks.
How does he stink?
He stinks.
When he was in his prime, he was.
Okay,
he was
so
an
let's
elite
put Robert
quarterback.
Ory in the Basketball Hall of Fame then.
Robert Ory is
Big
not
shot,
Eli
Bob.
Manning. It's not Eli Manning. Eli
Why?
Manning was the quarterback of the Giants. They won 2 Super Bowls when he was the quarterback. He also had 23 comeback wins in the fourth quarter when he was in his prime. Now, the last 3 years have been horrible for him. But they haven't had a good team.
That guy's not a Hall of Famer.
Now, he was in his prime. He's not now.
No.
I mean, when he could move,
No.
he can't move anymore.
He'll be in a lot of debates
No.
once his career ramps
There
up.
is no debate.
Yeah, I think he's going to get in.
The only intelligent football,
When you're a two-time
the only
Super Bowl
people
MVP,
who think
you're
Eli,
going to win.
the only people who think Eli Manning is a Hall of Fame quarterback are Giants fans.
I
They're
think
the
you're gonna
only
find-
people
I think
that
you're gonna
think Eli
find-
Manning's a Hall of Famer.
I think you're going to find
He's a Giant.
that
You
when
can put him in
win-
your Ring of Honor at the
Yeah.
I think you're
stadium.
gonna
That's
find
fine.
when you're a quarterback that wins 2 Super Bowls and wins 2 Super Bowl MVPs and also beat maybe what was viewed to be the greatest team ever put together in 2007. I think he's going to make this. I think he's going to make the Hall of Fame, Rob.
It's a joke.
I mean,
It's a joke.
That
That
was
is
a team-
probably going to be like once Eli decides to hang it up, like that would probably be the biggest debate in all of
I
sports
don't
talk
think
for
it's
the
gonna
next
be-
several
I
years.
don't think it's going to really
Is
be
Eli
a debate.
is
He won't
Eli
be a
Manning
first.
worthy of a Hall of Fame?
He's not
bid?
going to be a first ballot Hall of Famer, but he will eventually get in. I can't imagine he won't.
On what grounds?
He is a 2-time Super Bowl
Shut
MVP.
up. Shut up
He
about
threw.
that.
He's thrown for over 50,000 yards.
Yeah. Every
That-
quarterback drafted after the year 2000 is going to have 50,000 yards, bro.
I don't think so.
Yeah,
I don't
okay.
think so. And,
Yeah.
and how? And again,
You don't watch the NFL if you don't think that.
You know what?
You don't watch the NFL. You
Oh,
don't
I
watch
watch plenty.
2018 NFL if you think that. Every
I'm watching-
quarterback,
I'm watching
every
2000.
quarterback
You know,
drafted
Rob,
after 2000 is gonna be a
statistically-
top 10 pass.
Statistically,
They're gonna draft.
do you know statistically his quarterback rating is 7th in the NFL? I'm just telling you. I
Yeah,
mean that it
even in
doesn't
the
mean
YouTube
anything.
comments, Foolish Demon says Eli's going to be a Hall of Famer.
It's a,
Eli
it's
is
a,
gonna
it's
be
a
a Hall of
complete
Famer.
joke, and he's who said it? Foolish Demon.
Foolish Demon.
He's stone wrong.
Yeah, you're
That's
wrong.
the weakest take ever.
Nah,
Eli Manning's a Hall of Famer.
He is a Hall of Famer.
It's like people who tell me John Gruden's a good coach.
Well, we could all agree that he's not a good
He's
coach.
not a good coach.
He's a clown.
Nah, he's not a good coach. Just because he won with Tony
With Tony Dungy's
team.
players, yeah.
Yeah, basically that's what he did. I'm not going to give him that. And he's definitely taken a hit for the way he's ruining the Raiders. So, but Eli Manning, I would have to disagree with you.
How many interceptions does this guy have to throw for you to believe me? The only season he hasn't had double-digit interceptions was 2004, and that's only because he started 7 games.
Oh, his first season?
Yeah.
Okay.
17, 18, 20.
How about the
25,
touchdown? How about touchdown
27.
passes though? I don't hear you talking about his touchdown passes. He's thrown a lot of
Not
them.
great. 347 touchdowns and 234 interceptions. Well, that's a lot of interceptions.
I agree, but 347 touchdowns. I mean, he was in his day a gunslinger, just like Brett Favre was a gunslinger. I'm not saying he's as good as Brett Favre. He's not, but Eli Manning was a very good quarterback. And you know what? If you take a look at his Super Bowl win, at the years they won the Super Bowl, take a look at some of the games he played and where he had to
He's
play.
thrown for over 4,500 yards once.
Yeah, but the game was different when he was playing before.
It's not that
the
different.
same. Yeah, it is different. They've changed the rules
It's
a
not.
lot.
Philip Rivers is more of a Hall of Famer than Eli
Oh,
Manning.
stop. Philip Rivers is not a Hall of Famer. He's never won
I didn't
anything.
say he was. I said he's more of a Hall
He's
of
never-
Famer than.
He's never won anything.
Okay, Dan Marino never won the Super Bowl. Is he not a Hall of Famer?
He is a Hall
It doesn't
of
make.
Famer.
It doesn't make. But
But winning it once, maybe not. Winning it twice does. I'm sorry. I totally disagree with you about that. I mean, I think he's had a very good career. I
he
think
has
he's-
had a good career.
I think
he hasn't had a Hall of
based
Fame
on-
career.
based on
It's a
who's
joke.
based on who's in the Hall of Fame. I mean, you're going to put Jim Plunkett in. How are you not going to put Eli Manning in? Come
Okay,
on.
but I mean, Phillip Rivers has over 2,500, almost 2,500 more yards, way more touchdowns,
How many
and way
playoff
less.
games has Phillip Rivers won? It matters, Rob.
No,
Playoff
it doesn't.
games, yes,
Not
it
on your
does.
Hall of Fame resume. No,
Playoff
it's about
wins
your
matter.
statistic.
No, playoff
and how
wins. Playoff wins matter. If you think the playoff wins don't matter, you're kidding yourself.
Phillip
That's
Rivers
when you
won
step
playoff
up.
games.
What, 1 or 2 in his whole career?
He's won playoff games.
Okay, has he won 8? I mean, come on. And
You're
he's always
clueless.
had, and
You're
he's
cl-
always
you're
had, he's always
absolutely-
had a lot
you're
of better offensive
absolutely,
players.
You're absolutely clueless if you think Eli Manning's a Hall of Famer. Clueless.
Oh, he's going to be in
Clueless.
the,
That's the weakest take you've ever
he's
made
going to be in the Hall.
in the history
he's
of us
going to be-
doing radio shows
He is
together.
going to be.
The guy-
Mark my words. He is going to be a Hall of Fame quarterback.
And
I'm looking-
Deion Brown thinks Donovan McNabb gets in before Eli. Donovan McNabb is not a Hall of Fame either, and I would put Eli Manning in the Hall of Fame before Donovan McNabb.
I think Donovan McNabb was a Hall of Fame quarterback, actually. but that's besides
You just
the-
roasted Phillip Rivers for never winning anything. and You're gonna put Donovan McNabb in the Hall of Fame?
But he got to the. At least he got to a
Yeah,
Super Bowl.
and he threw
has
up
Super Bowls,
everywhere.
and he has playoff wins. How many? Phillip Rivers has what, 1 or 2 playoff wins his whole career?
I mean, holy smokes! I mean, you
that
think
matters. Come on, Rob.
of the three of them, Phillip Rivers is the best quarterback.
No, he's not.
If I had to
I
win,
would disagree with you about that.
if I had to win one game in the clutch with one of those three quarterbacks, I would pick Phillip Rivers.
In their prime, I would pick Eli Manning.
Of course you would.
I
You're
mean,
a crumb.
well,
You're
I
a
would,
giant New York crumb.
okay. Well, that might be true, but he's still, you still got to.
Eli Manning's
You
a
gotta
Hall of
give him-
Famer.
he is a Hall of
Jesus
Famer.
God.
He is a Hall of Famer.
I don't
Let's
get
see.
it.
Touchdown
He's a
passes.
Giants Hall of Famer. Like, he can be in the Ring of Honor for the Giants. That's fine. You have a little party for him one game at halftime. Better pick it at a nice game.
Well, let's see the years that they won.
so they'll win.
Let's see the years they won the Super Bowl. Let's see. He threw for 3,328. 32-28. That year he had
3,280 yards. You think that's a good season in the NFL for a quarterback?
Back then it was.
Back then, that's not even that long ago.
Yeah, but they didn't have the kind of yardage that they have now. I mean, his brother used to throw for a lot more yards. Yeah, but
Because
but it's a
Peyton Manning
different-
is a top 3 quarterback of all time.
Right, I didn't say he was one of the greatest quarterbacks of all time.
But you just compared it.
saying-
You just said,
I'm
"Ew,
saying-
Peyton did this all the time." Like,
Peyton won 2 Super Bowls too, but Peyton was a better regular. Peyton may have been the best regular season quarterback of all time.
Peyton Manning was the best at a lot of things in his career of all time.
Yeah, I mean, but winning the big
Breaking
games
down a
counts.
defense, pre-snap adjustments, rolling up
I mean,
regular
I'm
season.
looking at some of
wins.
these. I'm looking at some of these stats.
I'm looking at him too.
Listen, when they had real good teams, 21 touchdown passes, 10 interceptions. In 2008, let's see, 2009, 27 touchdowns, 14 picks. 2010, 31 touchdowns, 25 picks. That's too many picks. I would agree.
2005 to
29,
2018.
29 in 11, 29 and 16. 2012 which was their second Super Bowl. Let's see, 39-48, and in yardage, and 26 and 15. I mean,
The only season that jumps out to me as a good season by Eli Manning.
I mean, his best season was, believe it or not, was 2015, and
that's
I mean,
the one. For almost still couldn't get the 4,500 passing
but
yards.
the Giants also didn't
35
get,
touchdowns
Giants
and
also
14
didn't-
interceptions.
I don't think they even made the playoffs that year, though. So, yeah, they did make the playoffs.
If he had
that
more
year.
seasons like that, then look at 2008, 4,000 yards, 27 touchdowns, 14 interceptions. That's a mass season. 38-18.
They were also 12-4.
2013, less than 4,000 yards receiving, 18 touchdowns and 27 interceptions.
They were a bad team that year.
2010, 25 interceptions to 31 touchdowns, barely made it over 3,000 yards. Look at all these seasons.
Touchdowns is a lot
Look
of
at all
touchdowns.
these. Look at all these seasons as a
31
starter. Look at all these
31
seasons as a starter he has that he
31
didn't even reach
touchdown passes.
4,000 yards passing. 4,000 yards passing. Hall of Fame quarterbacks start week 1 with 4,000 yards passing.
No.
He did not throw for 4,000 yards passing in 2005, 2006, 2007, 2008, 2012, 2013, and 2017. Didn't even make 4,000 yards. That's pathetic. That's pitiful. That's awful quarterbacking.
You do realize playing in Giant Stadium had something to do with that, too. With the wind and everything, they always tried to run the ball.
Yeah.
It's just like, look at Phil Simms' numbers. Phil Simms should be in the Hall of Fame, too, and he's not because they used to run the ball a lot.
Phil Simms should be in the Hall of Fame. What
He
are you,
should
nuts?
absolutely be in the Hall of Fame. Are you
Phil
kidding me?
Simms?
Phil Simms, yeah. I believe he should be.
Oh, my God.
I don't think he gets enough credit for his career either. I mean,
Brad.
they took down Joe Montana
Phil Simms?
twice. He also had the greatest Super Bowl game of all time. Just 22 for 25 in the Super Bowl. Do you realize how good that is?
Let's put him in.
I think he's
The
I
game
think
of his
he's-
life. You realize it's like putting Nick Foles in the Super Bowl for his performance against Tom Brady.
Nick Foles didn't play the whole season though. He played. That's like putting Jeff Hostetler in.
Didn't Phil Simms break his leg and
In 1990 he did, but they were also 12-2 when he broke his leg. I mean, it's not like they were.
well,
I mean, he
put Phil
he
Simms
was
in the Hall
12
of
and
Fame?
2. They were 12 and 2 when he broke his leg.
Phil Simms is not a Hall of Famer. Eli Manning is
think-
not a Hall of Famer.
I think you'll find if you take a look at Phil Simms. He had some.
You know what? I am going to look at Phil Simms' stats. I want to see how
early
wrong
in his
you
career
are
he
about
was
this.
he was hurt a lot, but he had a very good career.
All my statistics are brought to you by Pro Football Reference. That's where I'm getting my information from.
Okay, now Phil Simms.
I mean, his numbers look like Eli Manning's numbers, and this guy played in the 80s.
Phil Simms had some good numbers. He really did have some good
For
numbers.
that era, maybe. I mean, 3,400 passing yards in 1988. That's a
Yeah, but in that era, that was good.
You didn't even let me finish. That's a good season. But you got to have more. 3,500, 21, but then he ruins it with 22 picks. I mean, come on, give me a break. He's the same number as Eli. There's too many picks. Look at all these picks. Phil Simms is not a Hall of Famer. This is not a Hall of Fame resume right here by Phil Simms. Phil Simms should be on the Hall of Fame. You're out of your mind.
Okay,
Kurt
so
Warner.
in
Kurt
1990,
Warner's a Hall of Famer.
In 1990, in 14 games, he had 15 touchdown passes and 4 picks. I mean,
Great.
he had some. He had.
So all you have to do is have
Not
one
every-
good season, and if
No,
you're a
that's not
Giant,
true.
you're in the Hall of
Okay,
Fame. You have one good
1986.
season, and you're part of the New York Football Giants.
In
You go to
1980
Canton.
in 1986, the year they won the Super Bowl. Okay, let's see, 3,487 yards.
Okay,
22
skip that one. I just said
Okay.
that was a good season.
Okay, but let's see, 87. That was the strike year. Although he had some pretty good numbers, he actually in 9 games that year he had 17 touchdowns and 9 interceptions, and they
Great.
didn't make.
Let's
the
give him a
playoffs
gold
that year.
jacket.
Well, listen, he
He got
had-
fired for Tony Romo as a broadcaster. The guy stinks.
Well, come on now.
Yeah, Dion is a little bit upset.
Yeah,
With
stop
Phil
it with
Simms.
Tell him, Dion. Stop it with Phil Simms.
Phil Simms.
In
should
that
be in the
case,
Hall of
Neil
Fame, too.
Anderson should surely
Neil
be a Hall of
Anderson.
Famer.
Neil
His
Anderson.
numbers are way
Stop.
better than Phil Simms. Come on. I can't say that I'm familiar with Neil Anderson, but I digress.
Who's Neil Anderson?
Let's get
Neil
it back
Anderson.
on track. He
Who's
played for
Neil
the Bengals. I don't know what.
No, that's
but
Kenny Anderson.
Kenny Anderson,
Oh,
whatever.
Kenny Anderson. Kenny Anderson. You can make a case for him. He was very good.
A case
Neil
for-
Anderson. Here we go. Neil
Kenny
Anderson.
Anderson. I think he's thinking of Kenny Anderson.
Oh.
Maybe he's not.
Was Kenny Anderson on the team that when they beat the Chargers in the Frost Bowl that one year?
I can't believe I have
No,
to
that was
explain
Boomer.
to you
That
how
was
Phil
Boomer.
Simms and Eli Manning are not Hall of Fame.
Oh, Eli
quarterbacks.
Manning is absolutely going to be a Hall of Famer. Phil Simms probably won't be because if he's
Let's
not by
see.
now, he won't be. But Eli Manning is absolutely, without question, going to be a
That's
Hall
the-
of Famer.
coldest take in the history of sports talk.
I think it is. The
Coldest
guy.
take
Yep, the
ever.
Freezer Bowl, yeah.
Yeah, who was the quarterback? Was it Boomer or was it Kenny
It
Anderson?
was Kenny.
It was Kenny. Okay, yeah. That year, that was the year Fouts had a ridiculous season, but it was like 20 degrees below zero, and neither team could do anything.
He means Ken Anderson. Dion needs Ken Anderson. Just commented.
Yeah. Okay. Yeah, it was Ken. It probably was Kenny Anderson back then.
Okay, so let's talk about good players, and good teams, who talk about players who can help the Eagles potentially. Because I pray to God that Howie Roseman is on the phone and makes a deal. Not doing anything is not an option. Not doing anything means you're going 8-8, finishing second, and the Redskins win the division.
Maybe they call the Jaguars. The Jaguars seem to be in complete disarray.
And who do you want off the Jaguars?
Well, there's plenty of good players on their defense.
I want offense.
Oh, you're
not
gonna get anybody good on their offense.
I want offense. I want Deshaun. I want LaShawn. I want Devontae Parker. I want someone on offense that can help Carson Wentz.
Well, we were talking. I mean, we were talking
great.
about Isaiah Crowell. We were talking about Frank Gore. I mean,
Frank Gore would be a great addition.
Frank
Isaiah
Gore,
Crowell would be a
I've
great
already said
addition.
Frank Gore would be very good.
Now,
for
would
them.
Frank Gore last with the Philadelphia Eagles for more than 24 hours?
Of course he
Why?
would. Frank Gore is
Frank Gore is
incredibly durable.
The joke was
After
when he got
seeing-
signed by the free agency back.
Oh
yeah,
what a
yeah,
fiasco! I
yeah,
forgot about that.
yeah.
The Colts, yeah.
Yeah, that was the
Yeah.
before he went to Indy or something.
Because Shady hit him up and said,
Yeah,
"Yo,
Shady hit him up, and then they
don't
traded
be
Shady.
playing for this clown
Yeah.
Chip Kelly."
Yeah. Like he signed a contract with us. It's like, yeah, we got Frank Gore. Then like 24 hours later, he's like, nope, I ain't signing with them. He just
then-
like bailed on us.
And then Chip Kelly panicked and signed DeMarco Murray. And
Oh,
it was
man.
what a disaster!
DeMarco Murray was.
I forgot about. That's a good pull by Frank.
Yeah.
I forgot Frank Gore. 24 hours.
24 hours. So
he was
as
signed, sealed,
Eagles
delivered.
legend right there.
But he would be a solid. Listen, after seeing what Adrian Peterson is doing at the age of 33,
Well, he's a freak.
What? Frank Gore's a
He's-
freak
he's
too. He's having a very good. Let's see what Frank Gore is doing this year.
He's not doing because he's in a huge timeshare.
Yeah.
Adrian Peterson is an absolute animal.
Well, but let's see like yards per carry and stuff like that. Let's just see what his numbers are.
Frank Gore,
Frank Gore stats. this
McCoy.
year.
I'm not sure that McCoy is going to get traded.
Okay. Frank Gore this season, 84 carries for 385 yards, 4.6 yards per carry. I think that would be a very, very good fit for the Philadelphia Eagles. 4.6 yards per carry.
Anybody with a pulse to be a running back.
That is, you know something? That's pretty. You can.
I
give
can't
him the
do
ball,
it with Josh Adams.
You
I
can give
can't
him the ball
do it.
12 to 15 times a game. I'm not saying give it to him 25, okay, because you'll wear him out. But you give him the ball 12 to 15 times a game, and maybe Smallwood gets the ball 5 times, and Clement gets the ball 5 times. I think that would work out real well for the Philadelphia Eagles.
Well, opposing defenses love it when we try and run Corey up the middle because he runs right into Jason Kelsey's ass pretty much every time, and I don't understand it at all. I don't understand. We had Corey Clement in the Super Bowl. It was a different guy, and now he came back this year, and we have Corey Clement of this year. He's not. I don't get it. He fell off a cliff in his second year. I don't know what he's doing. He can't run the ball. He's someone who can run the ball. There's a reason Wendell Smallwood and Josh Adams out-touched him yesterday.
Well, because they're better right now.
100% agree.
Yeah, they're actually because they're
And
playing better.
I'm totally with Greg. I mean, I can't count on Sproles. I can't count on Josh Adams. Wendell Smallwood is such a bad blocker, Brad. He cannot pick up a blitz to save his life.
Well, there are other guys. There are other guys. What about a guy? We've talked about David. What's his name? The guy on the Cardinals.
What's wrong over there, Chuckles?
They were talking about the Neil Anderson, Kenny Anderson switch up in the YouTube
Yeah, I
comments.
never
They were-
said-
they were talking about it in there, and then Deems like the reference that I pulled out with Frank Gore.
Yeah, it was.
And he,
good-
al-
it was
and he
a
also
good
said
pull.
that DeMarco was used terribly by Chip.
No, DeMarco.
He
Wasn't a scheme fit here, yes, but
Yeah, I would have been very curious what the Eagles would have done had they kept Murray instead of trading him. That would be very interesting.
what?
When after Chip got fired,
Yeah.
Like, had we not traded DeMarco after
No, the
1
guy
year?
was shot. The guy was straight shot. Jerry Jones sent him here to sabotage our team. I'm convinced of that. Like, the guy was, he was shot. He didn't even run.
Yeah.
He would stretch it out and run right out of bounds instead of trying to cut it up. Like, every time. It was just a bad signing.
Yeah.
Dallas got
I mean, it sounded great, but then in retrospect, it's like, yeah,
Dallas
this was a terrible.
gave him the ball like 400
Yeah.
times
Broke
in 2 straight
records.
years, and then he comes here,
Yeah.
and Chip Kelly wants to fit the square peg in the round hole, and it just didn't
Yeah.
work out.
And especially when you also had like Ryan Matthews, who got hurt and fumbled often. And-
Ryan Matthews was a scheme fit. I'll give
Yeah, he
Chip
was a
that.
scheme fit,
he
but
was
he
a
was
scheme
hurt.
fit for Chip. He was just wasn't that good.
Yeah. And I'm trying to think who else was in that running back
Darren.
core.
They had Sproles.
We had Sproles?
Yeah.
Oh, yeah, that's right. We did have Sproles.
Yeah, we traded. That was one of
That's
Chip's.
right.
That was one of Chip's first moves. He
That's
traded New Orleans a
right.
6th-round pick for Darren Sproles, and then he ruined everything. After
Yeah.
that, he ruined
And then
everything.
Chip blew up everything. And
ruined everything.
Ruined everything. And then Doug saved us. And Howie.
And now Howie's got to do it again because he needs to make a trade.
Yep. Oh, man.
Well, I mean,
looking at that
to me,
roster, that's
David Johnson seems to make the
painful.
most sense. I'm just looking at some of
No kidding.
some of
He's
these
one of
guys,
the best
he's-
running backs in the whole league.
he would
I
be.
don't think he's going to get traded.
I mean, the Cardinals would be foolish not to try to get something for him at this point
Why?
because they are in a major rebuild. They're like the Giants. It's
I
going to
don't
take them.
know about
It's
that.
going to take them 2-3 years before they start being competitive.
I don't
again.
know about that at all. I totally
They're-
disagree.
they're bad.
The Cardinals are much closer to being a playoff team than the Giants.
Right now, I would have to disagree. They're terrible right now. I mean, they're
You think
guys,
you think the Cardinals are worse off than the Giants?
I think they're in the same boat right now. I don't think there's much of a difference, to be honest
mean,
with you. I think they're in the same.
There's a big difference. I
I think they're in the
everyone
same-
hates Josh Rosen. He's like the whipping boy of the rookie quarterback class. He looked great on that last drive yesterday. I mean, I wouldn't really. I think the jury's still out on him being a quarterback. I don't know why everyone's so quick to judge the guy as a bust.
I mean, there are other guys. A guy like Nick Chubb on Cleveland, he would seem to be a guy that might work.
They just traded Carlos Hyde. They like Chubb. They spent a 2nd-round pick. He's only a rookie.
Suppose the Eagles give him a 2nd-round pick. Yeah, or maybe Theo Riddick would work. He seems to be having a good season in Detroit. Detroit
Theo Riddick's
stinks.
interesting.
Detroit
but Theo
stinks.
Theo Riddick is not a between the tackles guy. He's a
He's
a pass
quick,
catching guy.
but he's quick, and you could use a guy like that.
But he's the same as Sproles and Clement.
Yeah, but Sproles isn't playing. Right
I understand that.
but he's a better runner than Clement.
I mean, you're a better runner than Clement right now. I don't understand.
Well,
I don't
no,
understand
I don't think
what's
I don't
wrong
think
with
so.
that
But
guy.
you know,
I don't understand what's wrong with Corey Clement. I have no idea. It's baffling to me how he's just being outplayed by Josh Adams and Wendell Smallwood. It's crazy. They need a running back.
Let me ask you a question.
The answer to the poll question is a running back.
Do you think? All right. Do you think Jacksonville is ready to give up on the season and trade a guy like maybe Fournette, who may be a couple of weeks away?
Fournette?
No, don't trade Fournette.
No, Fournette is.
He's
No.
a couple of weeks away with his hamstring, but boy, he would be a big help.
They're not going to trade.
They're not
him.
going to trade Fournette.
No, okay.
Patrick Peterson's not coming here. David Johnson's not getting traded.
Yeah.
Foolish Steven, why would the Browns trade him? I would tell you why they would trade him, because they're not going anywhere, and to get more assets might be a good idea. I mean, the Browns need a lot more than just a running back. I mean, at this point, they need pretty much everything. They've got their quarterback, but
maybe
they
can
need a
maybe
lot
they
of
can
everything.
maybe they can grab a guy like Duke Johnson off Cleveland. I don't know.
I mean, there's plenty of backup running backs
Yeah.
who could do a reasonably good job for the
Yeah,
Eagles.
the only other running back I could think of, I know Ryan has brought it up a couple times on Birds of Feather and the Fix, and I kind of agree with him. Amir Abdullah
No.
from Detroit.
He's
Come on.
always hurt.
Come on.
Yeah, no, I wouldn't go with him.
I mean, I like Mataraki's idea better of
Booker?
Booker than
Yeah.
Amir Abdullah.
Yeah, I would if I were them, I'd go after
Amir Abdullah.
Crowell.
I mean, come on.
I would go after Crowell and the Jets. I think that's
He's
the
just
guy
a
that would-
worse version of Corey Clement, and Corey Clement is horrible right now. I don't know what's wrong with him. I don't get it. I don't get it with Amir Abdullah because I've heard that before. I've heard
Yeah.
a lot of people are saying it. I don't get it.
I mean, I wouldn't have much of a problem with it, but it's just like, I'm not going to be wowed by it. But it's like, I mean, we got a running back, but what's
with
he going to
11
do for
draft
us?
picks,
Listen, you never
Yeah.
know. They got Jay Ajayi last year, and
Yeah.
nobody thought that was going to happen.
that was out of nowhere. Great
Yeah.
point.
That was out of nowhere. I
Great
mean,
point.
you don't know. You really don't know who's available and who's coming out of a contract
But-
year. I think
Right.
Frank Gore. Honestly, I think Frank Gore would be the.
If I can't get a running
would be a
back, though,
guy
I'm
they should
overpaying for a receiver.
Yeah, you got to go
I'm
for
bucking
a
up
receiver.
and I'm overpaying. I'm not or a corner.
Right.
I'm overpaying if I can't. I'm overpaying to make a trade at this deadline. I don't need 11 draft picks in for the NFL draft next year. 11 picks. You don't need 11 picks.
You don't need them, but
You need a Super Bowl now.
something is up Howie's sleeves, and I know something tells me we're going to see a lot of action
A
tomorrow.
lot of action.
A lot of
What's
action.
a lot of action?
Just a lot. I mean, as much as
there
much as I
usually
can.
aren't that many
it's
trades
not
in
a
the
lot,
NFL, though.
but
you know? It's not,
I just think
that doesn't
that
happen.
a lot of there will be a lot of rumblings, a lot of shopping going on involving some of those draft picks and whatever Howie's doing. I don't know where or who we're gonna get, but come November 11th, I think we're gonna see a very different squad coming.
What
in.
is how many trades? More than one?
I'm gonna say 2 trades.
Two trades.
2 trades.
That's a lot of trades.
I know, especially for a trade deadline that doesn't see much. I think where the Eagles are at right now, like in terms of picks and where they're at in the cap situation, I think they are going to pull off I think they're going to pull off at least 2 trades.
Foolish
going
demon
into
that thinks that the
week 9.
Giants would want to trade the Eagles' Will Hernandez. Why would they do that?
No,
They just drafted.
they
him.
just drafted Will Hernandez.
He's a second-round pick, and they're not going to trade Will Hernandez. I mean, he hasn't been very good this year, but I mean, he hasn't
a rookie.
exactly had. He's
Yeah,
still
he's a rookie.
It's Pat. We got to take a break.
All right.
We got to take a break. On the other side, we'll talk about the World Series, the pitiful Flyers, maybe some basketball, and more Eagles trade deadline talk. ATG Radio will be back right after this.
That would even upset him more.
Shut up. We're trying to come back from break. Jeez, oh man. This is what I deal with every Monday. Phil Simms and Eli Manning are Hall of Famers, and Brad won't shut up. We're trying to come back from break. Like when Frank's waving at me like this,
Yeah,
we're trying
ready.
to come back from break. Good God. Anyway, Sports Hounds back, second hour, officially on YouTube, exclusively on YouTube. We got the trade deadline tomorrow. What do we got? Like 18 and a half hours before the trade deadline.
Yeah.
I hope Howie's got the coffee brewing. He's got
Yep.
the cell phone, multiple cell phones working.
Multiple cell phones. I
probably
know
got-
Doug is probably going to
Howie's
be in
probably
there.
got a cell phone for each division.
Yeah,
Like,
probably.
He's probably got 8 phones going.
I mean, the only thing I know about Howie is like he has a war room set up.
Oh, absolutely. Howie's war room
It's-
is unmatched by
Yeah,
any
it's-
GM in the National
And then,
Football League.
I mean, he
guarantee
debuted the new war room during the draft this year. It looks really nice.
So we got that going. Scanzano Sports poll question of the night is, what is the Eagles' biggest need ahead of the trade deadline? We have secondary, running back, wide receiver. I want offense. I can't fault anyone who watches this team and thinks they need secondary. I need weapons for Carson. I need fast, talented, speedy guys to play with Carson. But Brad, do you know what happened 10 years ago today?
What happened 10 years
The
ago
Philadelphia
today?
Phillies won the World Series
God, that was 10 years ago?
10 years ago.
Doesn't seem that long.
Chase Utley also officially done with baseball today.
Well, that's good. It's about time for him.
And
I mean, if you're a
Boston-
fan of the flushing toilets, then you'd
Well,
be
yes.
celebrating.
I guess I guess they would be.
Yeah,
but anyway,
Well, they don't have much to celebrate these
Well,
days.
pretty much.
anyway, my segue into that to talk about the Phillies was the Boston Red Sox won the World Series last night. They took care of the Dodgers in 5 games, as predicted by yours truly. Series, I mean, that was an unbelievable game. What was it, game 3? That was
3.
18 innings, and Muncy hit the walk-off.
Right. And then the Dodgers actually
Unbelievable
had
game.
a 4-0 lead in the 4th game and then just became completely gutless.
Yeah, and Ian Kinsler, bless his heart, he tried to help the Dodgers to win, but wasn't enough. He is no longer the Bill Buckner of 2018 for the
No.
Red Sox. He's
No.
off the hook.
They would have swept them, but I don't think Red Sox fans really care whether they sweep a team or win in 5. That's good enough, I'm sure.
Anyway, the 2019 futures odds for the World Series are out. The Phillies are only a 20-1 shot to win the World Series next year.
20-1.
20-1.
They must be expecting the Phillies to take the
Brings me to my
rubber
next
bands off the
brings me to my next point.
off
The
the money,
betting
bags.
favorite at even money to land Bryce Harper are the Philadelphia Phillies. Even money,
That's,
Brad. That's
That's a strong play.
Yeah.
those are bold odds.
Somebody must know something because that's
Those are bold odds, and I don't like. Look at Manny Machado's numbers outside of Camden Yards. Not that good.
Well, I think you're getting a little carried away. Manny Machado is a big time player.
I'd
I
rather
mean,
have Bryce Harper. It's the God's honest truth.
if you're asking me in Yankee Stadium who I'd rather have, I'd
No,
rather
the
have
Phillies
Bryce
don't
Harper.
play in Yankee Stadium.
No,
Brad.
no,
I
I'm
don't
just
give a
I'm
shit about
just
Yankee
saying,
Stadium.
If I'm the Yankees, I'd rather have Bryce Harper. I
Cool,
like Bryce
great,
Harper too. I
great.
mean, I like him better than I like Machado.
Yeah, they're betting favorites. Betting favorites in
Yeah.
Vegas to land Bryce Harper. I mean, I think
That'd be
Bryce
something.
Harper is good. I think Bryce Harper is going to be playing right field,
Whew.
maybe center field for
Man.
the Phillies.
That would be a that could be a
That'll be exciting.
cataclysmic event.
Yeah, and then
Yeah.
Aaron
Indiana
Altair can
Be
go
your 4th outfielder.
be the 4th outfielder in your local softball rec league.
Well,
Guy
they would-
totally stinks. I'm not a Nick Williams fan. Herrera maybe they'll trade him for some.
Yeah,
I
but
don't,
you know
I
what
don't
though?
know.
You know what
'Cause
though? If you
I
put
gotta see
Harper-
Roman. I gotta see Roman quit every day in center field next year.
Oh, yeah.
Sorry, O'Doul.
Rob, if you
I've defended him. I've defended him
Yeah, but
not
if
as
you put
much
a
as
guy-
Tom does, but damn close. But the leash is up. Roman Quinn's better than
You put
Ben.
Bryce Harper in the middle of any batting order, all the hitters around
Well,
him
he's gonna
become better.
He's gonna hit second on the Phillies because that's what Gabe's computer says. Yeah, you gotta put the best hitter second.
Oh, yeah, that's true.
It's analytics, man. You gotta
Okay.
catch up. You better study
Yeah,
up.
I know. But the pitcher bats ninth, so does that really make sense? Or I guess the pitcher bats eighth in the National League, right?
Well, you gotta type in, you gotta see what the algorithm says
Yeah.
for that
Yeah,
particular
I-
day.
Yeah, if it's 60 degrees and then certain blades of grass are pointing the other way, yeah, you got to put them at 8th. But
I mean,
Nobody
I don't
will
know. I always think you should bat your best hitter third, but
yeah,
okay, whatever.
The Sixers are up big on the Atlanta Hawks tonight. 111-91. There's 52 seconds to go. We can chalk that up as a W for the Philadelphia 76ers.
clap your hands.
I'm gonna preach patience
everybody.
to the fans on the Sixers.
Philadelphia.
Let's give them, and I'll be the first to lose my cool on this team when it's just, because we all know how I feel about the head coach. But I'm not going to do that tonight. The reason I'm not going to do that is because another Philadelphia team has pissed me off more
Oh boy.
than the Philadelphia 76ers have. That's the Philadelphia Flyers. Brett, you're the hockey guy. I mean, what is going on? I mean,
They're not playing any defense this year, Rob. And you know, if you don't play defense in the NHL,
I need the Flyers.
you give up
Where
a
are
lot of
the-
goals, you're going nowhere.
Where are the Flyers minions that
well,
always say everything's so
they
great because
are-
we have all
they
these young
are right
players?
now
Where are they? I
the
want to talk to
worst-
them.
They
I
are
wanna
the
talk to
worst
them,
defensive
Because
team
clearly
in the
I
NHL.
don't know anything about hockey. All I hear about is how the Flyers are building and they have all this young talent and how Carter Hart is the next Martin Brodeur. The guy has like a 6 goals against average in the AHL. The guy's been absolutely terrible. Like, where are all these guys that are supposed to save our franchise and make Hextall look smart, make Hackstall look smart? Where is the talent on this team?
Well, I'm going to tell you something. And I got roasted for this in Facebook by Flyer fans, which I really don't understand. A couple
Flyers
of them didn't,
fans
but-
are delusional. So
Well,
don't even think of
here-
it. They're
Here's my question.
delusional.
Okay, Sergei Bobrovsky right now, who's gotten off to a
Oh,
terrible
I
start.
was on this. I was in
Yeah.
this chat. I
Sergei
remember this one.
Bobrovsky has had a terrible start, and apparently Tortorella is just about had it with him. And he is definitely on the trade block, and so far it sounds like St.
I don't want
Louis
to
is the
trade for
leading
Sergei
contender.
Bobrovsky. They had Sergei Bobrovsky. They got Steve Mason for him. I want to see Carter fucking Hart.
But Carter
Where
Hart
is he?
he's
He's so fucking good. Oh, he does this in juniors, does that in
He's not
juniors.
good.
He comes to the AHL, he's getting lit up. I got Cam Pickard here. They lit up 6 goals. 6-1 they lose to the Islanders at home.
The shitty Islanders.
The
I may add.
Islanders are a terrible team.
The Islanders.
They
will
are so
not-
bad.
The Islanders are not making the playoffs, folks.
Neither are the Flyers.
They will. The Islanders will be 6th this year, and the Rangers will be 7th. But the
I
way
mean-
the Flyers are going, the Flyers are going to be probably at very best 5th, which is not going to be good enough this year. Because
Flyers are 5th in what?
well, they'll be 3rd from the bottom in the Metro.
But where's all this talent, all this young talent I keep hearing about for the Flyers? Where is it?
That's a good question.
I've been hearing about it for 2 years.
Well,
Some of these guys should be up
Here's a better question.
playing dividends.
Okay, they seem to have young talent that can score, but where is the young talent that plays defense, and where is the young talent that's going to play goal? Because right now, that is the worst. They are worse, folks. They're worse than the Red Wings defensively. They're worse than the freaking Red Wings. Do you know how bad the Detroit Red Wings are?
Look at these
right
plus
now?
minus stats for their stars. Look at these. Radko Gudas leads the team in plus minus. He's a +4.
That's got to
through
be
12
That's
games.
got to be an accident.
Who'd have thunked that?
That's got to be just
That
a
Radko
pure
And then you
accident.
go all
bleeping
the way
Gudas.
down. I'm still scrolling down. Ivan Provorov. Oh, he's great. He's a shutdown defender on the blue line. Yeah, he's a -8. 11 games played.
Minus
Shane
8.
Gostisbehere, a -8. Everyone loves Ghost. Oh, it's not Ghost's fault. Well, he's a -8 right now.
-8 means,
so it is kind of his fault.
in case you guys are wondering, these numbers, these are full strength numbers. Okay, it doesn't count when you're on the power play if you score, and they also don't take into account if you're killing penalties. These are strictly even strength numbers. That's terrible.
See, you already taught me something, Brad, because I didn't know that.
Okay.
See, I have to learn
The
hockey
power play,
and learn why
the
this
power
team.
play doesn't count. If a guy has 100 points and he's a -20, okay, the reason he's a minus, the reason that he has 100 points
Because he cakes up on the
he's
power
great.
play.
He's a power play player.
Gotcha.
He's not. It basically means he's a
It's
glorified
like
role
Schenner,
player.
like Braden Shen.
Well, he's kind of like what's his name used to be.
Remember
Tim,
Shen? Remember the Flyers traded
Yes.
Schenner?
Remember-
Oh my God! I
Oh,
thought,
remember,
man.
do you
I
remember
thought the
Tim,
city was gonna burn.
Oh,
remember
yeah.
Tim, remember Tim
Schenner,
Kerr?
you can't trade Schenner.
Remember
Come
Tim,
on.
Remember Tim Kerr?
No,
Okay, that might be before your. Tim Kerr was another one that he was on
Brad.
the Flyers.
I don't know dick
used to
about
score-
hockey,
used
but
to
I know
score-
that the Flyers are
He was a
awful.
prolific. He was a prolific goal scorer, but most of his goals were power play goals.
But like
They all count, but
Nolan
you know.
Patrick, second pick in the whole draft a few years ago, -7, 2 goals, 0 assists, a -7. 8 games played. 8 games played, he's a -7. Wayne Simmons, 6 goals, 1 assist, he's a -6. Jakub Voracek, 3 goals, 9 assists, good point total, but he's a -5. Giroux has 8 assists and 3 goals. He's a Sean Couturier, the best two-way forward in the whole league. He's the only guy who can shut down the Penguins and Sidney Crosby's line. He's got 3 goals, 0 assists, and he's a -3 in 11 games.
And that's one of the best. That's one
And
of
then
the
you
best
have
negatives on the
Sanheim.
team.
Then you have Samheim and Konechny, who have been okay. But I was looking for them to make a jump this year. And then Van Riemsdyk played 2 games and got hurt.
It is quite clear with the Flyers.
Where are all the
They're
Flyers
not-
fans? Are they in the chat?
I don't see any.
They're all hiding.
I see David Roska saying that your Ducks defense is stinks. David, the Ducks have a good defense. I don't know why they're giving up a lot of goals. Their problem's always been scoring, even though they have a couple of prolific goal scorers. The Ducks, I think, are going to be okay though. I wouldn't worry too much about them.
What is the solution for the Flyers? 'Cause this is unacceptable.
Oh, Hextall has got to stop with this.
Okay, GM. Hextall.
Hextall.
Hextall, not
Oh.
Hextall. Hextall needs to. He's got 2 choices. Okay, he needs to either make a move and bring in some real good defensemen who actually are going to stand out
But
there.
how are you going to get
Get the fuck
defensemen
outta
when you
there.
don't have any good players?
Well, they got guys that can score. Okay, and a lot of teams need scorers. A lot of teams can't score, so that's something. The Flyers have guys that they can trade to get defensemen, but they've got to get defensemen. You do not win in the NHL by scoring 300 goals and giving up 350. It doesn't work that way. You know, in the NHL, the best teams in the league usually are the teams that give up the fewest goals. They're not always the teams that score the most goals. Case in point, last year, the New York Islanders, I believe, had the second best offense in the NHL. And how did that work out for them? I mean, I believe they had 71 points last year.
Yep.
I don't have the numbers in front of me. I think it was 71 points. I could be off by
What
a
are you
little
talking?
bit.
I'm
but
sorry, I got distracted.
The
What are you
New
talking
York
about?
Islanders
Yeah.
last year had the second best offensive hockey team in the NHL last
Right.
year. They had 71 points last
Yeah,
year.
that was the Brad Ryer cheat code bet to beat Vegas. Bet the over in every Islanders game.
Exactly, because they couldn't stop
remember.
anybody. It doesn't play. If you take a look at last
hit
year,
it.
the Golden Knights.
It hit a lot.
It definitely
It
did.
hit
that
a
was
lot.
that was the easiest way to make money in the NHL last year was just play the Islanders in the over. And
Why
Yep.
won't these stats?
you know what? This year it's play the Flyers in the over because the
Pretty
Flyers
much.
usually score but they give up a ton of goals. But they're giving up so many goals at this point. You can't win this way.
Clearly
you just
not.
can't. I mean, listen, they played, and it's extremely
Like
disappointing.
seriously,
After that game,
I mean the
against
coach has
Devils.
got it. The coaches. I hate I hate calling for a coach's job in the middle of the season like this, but I mean, this
really
guy's got
early. It's really early to do that.
this guy's got to go, man. He's not
I think
developing these players.
Have the players given up on this guy? That's what I'm.
You lose
wondering.
6-1 to the Islanders at home. Like, I think that's a strong possibility.
Pretty much.
I mean, I didn't see the game, but
I
would think
it
that
was not good.
I would think that the fans were probably.
The fans were livid.
Yeah, I would think.
No,
that the fans
what's
giving
really
it to them.
concerning is because the fans don't even care. They're like
they care more about Gritty than the actual game.
because
That's
God.
pretty much where it's at so far.
Yeah, but
the Flyers fans have become soft and complacent, and that tells
Yeah,
me
they
that
used to
there's
be-
a real problem
They used to
because
be,
they're never soft.
They
and
used to be
complacent.
Right.
They used
They're
to be
always
the
gung
meanest-
ho, defending their team till the bitter end,
And they were
calling
also-
people like me.
And they were
who
also
think-
the meanest. They were also the meanest to play against. If you went to Philadelphia and you were the other team,
Yeah.
playing the Flyers,
When you've
those
driven,
fans were brutally nasty. It
When
was a
you've
very
dr-
tough place to play.
when you've driven the passionate Philadelphia Flyers fans, voted year after year the best fans in the league by
Yep.
toughest place to play, best fans, whatever category you want to
Always
put
is-
them in.
they've
When you
always
drive
been
them,
tough
when
to
you
play.
drive them to complacency, where they're just like, yeah, they stink. They don't care. It's a huge problem. I mean,
let's see. Asmer of me of everything thinks that they should.
who's
play
on their
the-
road trip? I had
play
it. I
the-
had it
play-
up here earlier. They're on a
Giroux,
4.
Giroux is not getting traded. Giroux is making way too much money. Okay, nobody's going to take
Trade
him.
Giroux, but I thought we were rebuilding. We had all these young
You-
players.
you
we
are-
had all these
you
prospects.
See, you are rebuilding. The whole
All right,
point
let's
is
see. Where are they?
you have
at?
guys that can score.
But-
there are so many teams that are struggling offensively
But-
this year.
Brad,
Make a trade and bring in some guys who can play defense. You know, I mean, listen.
I'm
the
changing
Maple Leafs. The Maple Leafs have gone out and got and strengthened their defense, and guess what? They're now the best team in Canada. Sorry, James Wilder, but they are. Actually, the Maple Leafs right now are record-wise the best team in hockey. Just saying. I mean, take a look at their record. That team right now is the best team in hockey.
So do you think you're the hockey nerd here? You think Dave Hackstall is a good coach?
I mean, you know, I thought he did a nice
The
job
fact
with the
that
team
the-
last year, but
But Brad, and that brings me to my next
the
point.
regress
This is
year
supposed to be
so
a
badly.
process, if
Yeah.
you will, a rebuild. I saw this team make the playoffs last year.
And I thought they gave the Penguins a pretty good battle.
They made the playoffs last year. This isn't a rebuild. You make the playoffs, and then you
Then
get a
you go
little
from
better,
there.
and then maybe
Mhm.
you push a
I mean,
contender
we
to
had-
7 or
we
win
had
around.
Jim Jackson on.
This
Jim
is
Jackson
this is
thinks
this
that
is
they
a
should be.
fell off a cliff, man.
Jim Jackson felt that they should be winning a playoff round this year, and I happen to agree. I thought that they had a chance to maybe win the division this year. This is ridiculous. Nobody on this team is playing defense now. I don't know if Hackstall's defensive system needs a little bit of an overhaul, or if some of these guys just don't want to play his system. I mean, if they don't want to play his system, then they have to get rid of the coach. I mean, that unfortunately is the case. If they're just underperforming, I don't know if you can necessarily blame the coach, but I do think at this point maybe a goal scorer or two need to be traded. I mean, I'll tell you a guy who I'd be looking to trade is Wayne Simmons.
He can take a hike.
I mean,
Sick of Wayne Simmons.
Wayne
Yeah, he's
Simmons.
been on the block for like
Wayne
'Cause he
Simmons.
probably
stinks.
since he arrived.
Wayne Simmons should be traded
Sick
for
of
a
Simmer.
solid defenseman.
Oh, you can't trade Simmer. He's a mucker and a grinder in the corner.
Now you could trade him. The Flyers can score. They don't have that. I mean, it's amazing. But you know what? We go through this, and we've been going through this for a while now. Ever since what's his name? That one defenseman that they had that was a beast.
Trying to get the Phantom stats
Got
up
hurt.
here.
A few years ago, the guy that got the concussion,
Pronger.
Pronger. Yes, thank you. Ever since
was
Pronger,
years ago.
Yeah.
but ever since they lost him, they have not been able to get that big time defensive
Yeah, but that was
defenseman.
like 2011.
But
man.
that's how long this has been going on. I mean, they tried to. If you remember,
Yeah, I get it.
when they
but
tried to
I
get
mean,
Shane, they tried to steal Shane Weber from the Predators,
Mm.
and that didn't work because the Predators matched the contract, and then they ended up trading him to Montreal. I mean, but that's the kind of impact player the Flyers really need to get. I mean, they need to get a defenseman that's good, that puts fear into the other team that's really good. I'm not talking about Ratko Gudas because Ratko Gudas is a nut and can implode at any time.
He leads the team in plus minus.
I know he does, but that's that. If he's
Can't
gonna
get
lead
rid
the
of
team,
it.
if he's
solid
gonna lead
asset.
the team, but he's a number 5 or a number 6 defenseman. If he's your best defensive player right now, that's why your team is 1 point away from the hideous New York Rangers and only 2 points ahead of the even more hideous Detroit Red Wings. I mean, it's gotten to a point this year. It's almost comical how bad this team's playing defensively. Every game they're giving up 5-6 goals. You can't expect any team in the NHL to win when they're giving up that many goals. I don't care who you have on your team. You're not going to score that many goals every night. It's impossible to win that way. You know, I mean, I really thought, and crazy me, after last Saturday, the game they played against the Devils when they beat them 5-2, I said to myself, wow, okay, that's a real quality win. The Devils are a real good hockey team. You know, and they don't normally give up a lot of goals. They can score, and they can score in bunches. And, you know, the Flyers went and shut them down, convincing win. And then they go right back, and they're giving up goals in bunches again. I mean, it can't continue. And you know what? They, right now, are going on the West Coast. They're playing a very bad Los Angeles Kings team who
They stink, too.
who really was fortunate to beat the Rangers. Yeah, but then they're going to play the Sharks and the Ducks. Good luck with those two teams the way they're playing right now. I mean,
they already lost the Sharks about 10-1. It
they
was
got
their home
demolished.
opener. It was the debut of Gritty.
Yeah, they got demolished.
He came in the rafters to Miley Cyrus, and then they blinked. He blinked his googly eyes, and they were down 3-0. Just boom, boom, boom. Sharks are good.
Oh, the Sharks are real good. I mean,
they're going to win the cup.
You can understand losing to the Sharks. Not 8-2. I can't understand any team beating you at home 8-2. That's unforgivable. 3-2 maybe. I could live with that, but this team
Frank,
needs to make a move.
Can you find Carter Hart's Phantom stats
Yeah.
this year? I'm having problems.
Yeah,
anyway,
they have not been good. But I'm going to go back and I'm going to say it. You know what? They should. If Sergei Bobrovsky is put out there to be had, the Flyers would be nuts to not take a flyer on him and bring him back. So what if he wasn't great for the Flyers the first time they had him? Look at how good he's become. You know what? Right now, obviously he's not getting along with Tortorella, and you know what? Tortorella has that effect on guys. Tortorella is one of those coaches.
he only lasts a couple
he's
of years.
He's great, but he's got an expiration date.
Right.
And I think he's starting to get to his expiration date with the Columbus Blue
He's
Jackets.
like Gruden.
I think he's a little bit better coach than Gruden.
Probably. It's not tough to do.
He's a better coach than Gruden. Tortorella has won a Stanley Cup with the Tampa Bay Lightning, and he took he came very, very close with the Rangers. I mean, he's a good coach, but he's one of these guys. You know, he's a bully, and you know, bullies only last a certain amount of time as coaches in the NHL. It's just that is what it is. You know, and that's not going to change. Have you found Carter Hart's numbers yet?
I have not. Frank's helping me with that.
I am looking for them.
I'm looking up something now. I have according to PhillyIsFlyer.com.
All right, found them.
Okay, before I do my rundown of the prospects that are supposed to be so good that nobody can find them right now. They're all milk cartons.
Yeah. All right.
Go ahead.
So
Carter Hart.
far, Carter Hart.
This is this season
This season alone, played 5 games, 3.77 goals allowed average, 2-2-1 for the season, along with an .880 save percentage.
That is not NHL hockey.
That's not game-changing franchise goalie numbers.
He is not going to be up here anytime soon with those numbers. And with the Flyers' defense the way it is right now, there's no way he's even close to coming up here right now. As I said before, you know, if St. Louis goes out and gets Bobrovsky before the Flyers do, shame on the Flyers. Because St. Louis right now is a team that they're in the bottom of their division. I think they have like 7 points or 6 points or something like that. They're underperforming too, but at least they're trying to get better.
Well, let me just get to this. Again, this is courtesy of PhillyIsFlyer.com. information provided by an article written by a guy named Dan Silver. So let's give credit where
Is he
credit's
related to Adam Silver?
I don't know, but
All right.
I gotta say his name
He's
because
Mr. He's Mrs. Silver's
I can't
son.
steal his
Yes.
narrative and present it as
Mr.
my
and
own.
Mrs. Silver's son.
That's
Yes.
plagiarism.
Yeah, we're not plagiarizing here.
All right, so the number 2 prospect, according to Dan Silver, is Felipe Myers.
How's
He's-
Felipe doing?
He's
so
age 20. I don't have stats. I just have a list here. He's age 20. He's 6'5", 210 pounds.
far? Is he? I hope he's a defenseman.
Where is he? Where is he? He's the number 2 prospect. He's 20 years old. Where is he? Why isn't he here? Why isn't he on this team? You're telling me this guy's not better than Andrew McDonald?
Felipe Myers is.
Andrew McDonald is making too much money right now.
I don't care how much. I want to see him win hockey games. I don't want
know.
to see him
I'm
get
just telling
blown
you
out
why.
by the
Listen,
Islanders
I
at
don't-
home.
I don't.
I don't
I
care how
Ooh.
much money. It's
I don't
not
agree with
my
it either.
money.
All right.
I
so
don't
far,
care.
Felipe.
How's Felipe doing?
He's got a plus minus of 10,
Plus 10.
plus 10.
Okay, that's great. That would
Is
lead
he a
the team.
defenseman?
Three
Is he a defenseman?
defenseman.
Yes, he's a
3
defenseman.
goals, 3 assists, 6 total points.
Where the hell is he?
Why can't he be on the
Why
Flyers
isn't
right
this
now?
guy? Why
I
isn't
have
this guy,
no idea.
Where is he? Why can't he be on the Flyers?
Why can't you bring him up and
Okay,
put
let's
and
go.
send McDonald down?
Travis Sanheim is on the Flyers.
All right.
6'4" defenseman. I'd like to see more of him. I'd like to see him step up. But I've seen him. He's looks like an okay prospect. I'm surprised that Mr. Silver here has him as the number 3 prospect. Oscar Lindblom. I knew he was a top prospect. He's the number 4 prospect. Is 6 foot 200 pounds. He is on the big club,
He's small.
so he's small. But I'm willing.
But that doesn't matter
let's get
because
him out
the
there and let's give
Canadians-
him a
The
chance.
Canadians have a bunch of small guys on their team, and look how good they're playing right now.
More Herman Rupstov.
Come on.
He is on the team. I believe he is on the team as well.
He is still with. He is with Lehigh Valley.
Okay, how's he doing in
So
Lehigh
he's not
Valley?
even in the AHL right now.
Oh, he's still with Lehigh Valley.
No,
Isn't
the
that
Lehigh,
the Eastern League?
No, that's the Phantoms. That's the AHL.
Lehigh Valley is the Phantoms?
Yeah.
Yeah.
I thought they played in the. They don't play across the street anymore.
No.
No.
They haven't done
Alright.
that since I was like
Yeah.
1998.
Okay. Well, I'm
It's a
not
long time.
totally familiar with their farm
All
team.
right.
So.
So far,
How's he doing?
Rupstov has 9 games under his belt with the Phantoms, 4 goals, 2 assists, 6 total points, plus minus of +3.
Okay, is he forward or defenseman?
He's 19. He's a center / left
Yeah.
winger. according
Okay,
to
well, you
this
leave a
ad.
guy like that. You leave a guy like that in the minor leagues. Right now, the Flyers' problem
Okay,
is
so
their
we've
defense.
identified Felipe Myers as a guy who can help the team now. That's one of these kids that's part of this process that they keep.
and he
preaching.
sounds like a giant, and he probably could come up here and
See, now
have some
this is
impact.
what I don't get. The number 6 prospect is Felix Sandstrom, who is a goalie, age 20. Now, Dan Silver here, according to his article, Felix here is better than Carter Hart.
Felix is currently in Sweden right now,
Okay.
Okay, that's
playing for HV 71.
Is that a professional European league?
Yes, in the
is
in
that
the,
the Elite League?
it is the Elites League, and yes,
The Elite League is a
You got the
Yes, the-
KHL.
loaded with talent.
yeah, the S8, the Swedish Hockey League.
It's like a notch.
It's like the
slightly-
second
slightly-
best league in Europe.
It's slightly below the
That's slightly-
KHL.
Yeah.
Yes. Yeah.
So far, he's got
But it's right there with the KHL. It's right
so
there.
he's
with
got a 270 GAA with an 893 save percentage.
Yeah, you'd still
currently
like to
on
see a little
loan.
bit.
So he
Is-
might make it to the states
Is the team
sooner or later.
is the team he's playing with any good?
HV 71 or Husqvarna Veterstad 1971.
Yeah, whatever they're
They are currently. I gotta find it. It's not giving me the SHL standings.
Well, now,
if he's on
now-
a crappy team and he's playing well,
they're usually good.
hey Brad, I got a
then
question.
That's a good thing.
I have a question.
All right.
'cause You're smarter at hockey than me.
Right now,
So-
they're in the bottom of the league right now, but it's still early. They're 12 games
Okay,
into the
but he's
season,
obviously
14
carrying.
total points.
Okay, so he's obviously carrying them right now. If you got a 2.7
Okay.
goal,
Brad,
goals against
I have
average-
a question since you're smarter at hockey than me.
yes.
Now, the way I understand hockey is that it's like the quarterback. You only have one quarterback on the field at the same time. right?
Your
Is it-
quarterback is your goalie.
right. You play one, right? Or do they make the rules different? You play
No,
two?
You play one.
So you have two of your top 10 prospects are goalies.
Right.
You can't score goals or defend anybody right now. Can't you, pick which one's your favorite and trade the other one for something?
A lot of teams do that.
How come the Flyers don't do that?
Hextall doesn't seem to trade anybody. I think he's a little too in love with his prospects. I really do. I think at this point,
We
you
call it roster baiting in fantasy football.
yeah. I mean, at this point, I think you really have to get to the point where you say, okay, I've got a certain number of players right now. I've got enough guys on my pro team that can score goals. I need some defensemen.
Why not
I
trade?
obviously have some really good prospects who can score.
But why not trade one of these goalie prospects for someone who can actually defend?
That's what they need to do.
How come they don't? How come me,
well, that's-
who doesn't know jack
that's an
shit about hockey,
organizational-
can come to that conclusion by looking at one list from some guy named Dan Silver about the prospects and come to that conclusion? But Ron Hextall, the Flyers general manager, can't seem to figure it out. Why?
I don't know. He doesn't seem to ever pull the trigger on deals. I mean, I don't know why he doesn't. But he hasn't been aggressive enough, in my opinion.
He's soft. That's what he is.
He's not aggressive. I mean,
fucking soft.
I think you get to a point. I mean, listen, I'm going to go to another sport.
I mean,
know
Morgan
for a
Frost
minute,
is only.
but
Morgan,
Brian Cashman was doing that for a while, and then finally, he went and he traded some of his prospects to try to help the Yankees in the summer this year. I would hope that Hextall is looking at this team and saying, okay, I've got guys who can score on this team, but I desperately need to lock it up.
is there is there a website I can log on to and look at the top 100 prospects in the NHL?
Yeah, NHL.com. If you go into NHL.com, you'll find you can find somewhere in there they'll give you the top 100 prospects.
And if you're wondering about Morgan Frost,
He's only 18.
he's only
I mean,
18, playing for Sault Ste. Marie.
I get
30
get
points so far.
Nolan Patrick's 18
you
years old
can't-
too, but
Yeah.
Nolan Patrick seems like he's a prodigy.
You can't go by guys that are playing in the Western Hockey League or in juniors. That's I mean that doesn't always translate.
So I've already found one. Well, you can either trade Carter Hart and go with the Felix Sandstrom kid, or you trade the Sandstrom kid and go with Carter Hart. Why do you need two goalie prospects that are top 10?
But you have to before you do that, you really need to bring Sandstrom to North America and see what he looks like in the AHL.
Yeah.
I want action. I'm sick
No,
of
I
this
understand
sitting
that, but you
back
still
and
have
letting
to-
these guys
But
develop.
before
This is a proud franchise. What was
before
once
you-
a proud franchise
before you
in Philadelphia, and
before
it's
you
just an
do that-
absolute mockery right now.
before you do that, you still have to see how they play in North America. You can't just take guys from Europe and bring them into the NHL.
But why?
That-
You just told me how good the Swedish league that
It is,
Sandstrom
but
Yeah.
a lot of these guys, unless you're talking about
Well,
a real elite player,
A,
like
why
a
would-
once-in-a-lifetime prospect like Rasmus Dahlin. I mean,
or the Sedin twins,
or
guys,
the
guys
Sedin
like
twins,
that. I
Phil-
mean,
Peter Forsberg.
yeah, I mean guys like that. Yeah, but I mean most guys need to at least play maybe 20, 30 games in the AHL just to get used to it. One thing they don't do in the Swedish elite league is they don't hit. Nobody in that league hits. They're all great skaters and they can all score. Keep in mind the ice surface in the NHL and the AHL is a lot smaller than the ice surfaces in Europe. So there is a bit of an adjustment. That's why you can't just take these guys and throw them into the NHL or throw them into the you have to play them in the AHL just to get used to the game. Plus they get hit a lot more. And you don't know
He's
some
a
of these
goalie.
guys. Even the goalies, though, the goalies still take a lot of take a beating.
okay, then
back
let's
there.
trade the guy from Europe and get Carter Hart on the team. I don't
Carter
care
Hart's
that he's
not-
19.
Carter Hart is not good enough right now to play in the NHL. we just
Brad.
saw his numbers.
I don't care what his numbers are. I see what they have on the team now, and it's nowhere near good enough.
But you can't put him in there.
Why?
Right now. Because
I don't
if he gets-
understand why.
Because if he gets bombed,
it's like when Brett Brown doesn't play Fultz down
Because
the
it-
stretch. How the
Rob.
fuck are you going to know if they're any good or not if you never put him in the
Rob,
game?
what happens if you bring in a minor league pitcher too soon and he gets bombed? You kill the guy's confidence. and
Oh, his confidence, because everyone's got to get a participation trophy, and
No,
God
it's not
forbid
it's
you
not
go
about
out there and let up a couple goals in the most prestigious, most competitive hockey league in the world. If his confidence gets shattered because of one bad game in the NHL, because he's 19 years old, then he's not as good as everyone thought he was in the first place.
But he hasn't even proven it in the AHL yet. How can you bring him up to
Why
the NHL?
can't we just skip the AHL with the trash that's going
Because
on
he's
and
not
with this
good
goalie?
enough.
They haven't
He's-
had a
he
goalie
could
in
be
30
worse.
years.
But he could be worse. You're not understanding. He could be worse than these guys.
I don't get it.
He could be
I don't
worse.
get it.
They
Why should I have to look at who are the
They need-
goalies on the
They
team?
need.
Why
to go
should
out.
have to watch Brian Elliott try and play goalie, Calvin Pickard, whoever the hell that is,
I think he got cut already. I
and
think they released
Michael
him.
Neuwirth,
And we've seen Michael Neufeld. Every 5 games
a
he
6
plays
ERA.
it great. Every 5
not
games,
ERA,
Michael,
goals against.
yeah, every 5 games, Michael Neufeld gives you the Ken Dryden effort, and then the next 4 games he's terrible.
But why should I have to watch this trash, those 3 sweatbags, play
You're not-
goalie when I'm supposed to have the next Martin Brodeur on my AHL team?
because he hasn't played like Martin Brodeur yet. When he's able to dominate that league, that's when you can bring him up. You can't bring him up now.
Why? So what?
Because
Now
he'll
we're
get
going to be
killed.
like the Phillies and wait till we're 25, 26 years old to bring up all these prospects that are supposed to be
Goalies-
so great?
First of all,
I don't
goalies-
get it.
but
This
goalies
team is
take-
deficient.
Goalies take longer to develop too, and it's also a lot harder to develop defensemen than it is forwards. I mean, defensemen generally don't really become really good till they're 23, 24 years old. It takes time with defensemen. They don't just come up and are great defensively. That takes a little time. The Flyers need to go out, and they need to get. I mean, I'll give you a perfect example of the kind of guy, and I'm not saying that they're going to get this guy because I doubt the Ducks would trade him. But a guy like Cam Fowler, that's the kind of guy they need to get to go
Well,
back there. I mean,
He's
they
one
would
of the
be,
best defensemen in the whole league, like obviously.
but that's the kind of guy they need to try to go out
like,
and get.
no kidding. Brad, you're the hockey guy here. You got to give me nuggets that aren't.
But that's what they need. They need a couple of veteran defensemen who aren't too old, who aren't 29 or 30, but like maybe 24, 25, and take some of these prospects and wrap them up in a trade and get themselves a guy like that. They may have to wait a little longer because it's still very early in the season. You know, I mean that very well could be the issue right now.
I don't need to see any more hockey to know that this team is pathetic. I don't need to see any more.
You know,
I've seen enough.
Well, you may have a new coach by the time you get back because I
That's
mean, you
fine.
can't-
That's 100% fine by me. I
deal
hate
with-
when they.
The deal is,
I hate when teams do that
if
in the middle of the
Hextall-
season.
if Hextall feels that the problem with this team is the coach will be gone, and it does work with coaches because the Pittsburgh Penguins did that 3 years ago. They fired their coach in the middle of the season, and they changed coaches, and they won two consecutive Stanley Cups. You know, when Sidney Crosby and Evgeny Malkin looked like they were sleeping on the ice and not showing up, and all of a sudden they made the big change at coach. You know, all of a sudden then they win 2 Stanley Cups in a row, and then finally last year they finally lost to the Capitals. You know, but I mean, look, the Flyers have talent on their team. This is not a team that is devoid of talent. They can score. For whatever reason this year, they have become completely undisciplined, and that is on the coach. And if Hextall is unwilling or unable at this point to make a trade to turn this team around, if they lose these next 3 games on the road, and they come back, what's the record right now? 4-7. If they come back 4-10.
I'm looking at my prospect list.
Well, let me just check their record real quick.
It's not good. It's not good. I think they're 4-7 or 4-8.
They're 4-7 right now, and they in 11 games they've given up 46 goals. Do you realize how disgraceful that is in this day and age? Because in this day and age, a 3.0 goals against average is terrible. I mean, it used to be
So
3.0
this
was
list
good,
does,
but
this list does nothing.
that's pathetic. If they come back 4-10, he might be gone.
He should be gone now. He should have never even been allowed on the bus after losing 6-1 to a stinky Islanders team.
You're not
That's
wrong
horrible.
about that. That's unforgivable.
That's unacceptable for any hockey franchise to do that.
No,
Unacceptable.
I don't disagree with you. And the Flyers aren't supposed to be a team that's rebuilding either. Now they're going to be playing the Ducks tomorrow, and then Thursday they're at the Kings, who have struggled mightily, and then they get the Sharks. That's not going to be an easy game. Then
The Sharks is a loss. The Ducks is a loss.
yeah. Then they have a home and
The
home.
only realistic game I can see them winning is the Kings.
Well, here's the thing. Okay, after they're done with the Sharks, okay.
Here we
That-
go.
if-
NHL farm
if they
system
get bombed,
rankings.
if they get bombed by the Sharks, they could make a coaching change because listen to the schedule after they get bombed by the Sharks. Okay, they're gonna have a home and home with the lowly Coyotes. Then they play the Blackhawks, who are playing well, but I don't know if they're back yet. I can't sit here and say, oh, they're definitely back. Then they get the lowly Florida Panthers in town. So I mean, if they're gonna make a move right there, those are 4 games. Those are 4 games they could win in a row. If they're gonna make a coaching change, that would be the time to do it because you would think that they could win those games and it could really spark the team and maybe they get some juice and start rolling. I mean, look, 2 games against the Coyotes, the Blackhawks, the Panthers, and
I don't have.
and then the Devils, who they handled very well
Yeah.
in their first meeting at home. So I mean, at that point, that's the time for them to make a move. Then they have a tough game with the Lightning. Then they have the Sabres and the Rangers, who are horrible teams. So I mean, listen, they've got coming up. They've got some real easy games on their schedule.
Stop.
It's time for
There's
them.
no such thing as an easy game for this hockey team right now.
Well, let's put it this
They
way.
play
There are
tomorrow. They play
highly.
They play tomorrow,
winnable-
right, against the Kings,
No, they play the Ducks tomorrow.
the Ducks. Okay,
That's a tough game for them to win.
it's a stone loss.
They're playing the Kings, who have stunk it up all season. They could beat the Kings. I would hope that they would beat the Kings. And then they play the Sharks. That's pretty much a guaranteed loss. By the way, take the over in that game, guys. That's a solid over bet if you like to bet hockey. And then
All right, so according to SportingNews.com, the Phillies, the Flyers have the number 2 farm system in the whole NHL.
Who are they behind?
The Sabres.
well, the Sabres have stunk for the last
Yeah.
10 years.
Apparently,
they should have a great farm
Yeah.
I
system.
mean, apparently that they got this guy Rasmus Dahlin, who's just
Rasmus Dahlin is a defenseman he was the first pick.
left,
of the draft
left-handed
last year.
defenseman. He's supposed to be all that in a bag of chips. Good for them.
Yeah, they still have a lot. They still have a little. They still have Eichel Motorcycle on their team, who's a great player. But they have a long way to go.
And then they have the Flyers, number 2, Joel Farabee,
Joel Farabee, yeah.
who was not on Mr. Silver's article. Not sure who he is, but he was just drafted.
He was the recent draft pick. I believe he is. I know
What number
not
pick
sure.
did they have last year?
14.
14. Okay, so I mean he's a mid-round, first-round pick.
Let's
he,
see. What
he
is
should be a
Farabee
pretty
on?
solid prospect.
All right, he's playing for Boston U right now.
Where is? Yeah, I mean,
Okay.
where are these guys?
Well,
I
if
mean,
he's a
where
college
are these
player,
guys?
if he's a college player, if he's good, he'll be here in March.
I'm talking
Yeah.
about.
February.
when Frozen Four time comes around, he'll be up.
Yeah.
I mean, take a look at
Yeah,
how
they're gonna let
Gosper
him-
came out to the
yeah, they're
Flyers. He
gonna
was
let
playing
him-
with Union for a while.
They're going to let
What
him
about
play.
what
in
about number 10 prospect Wade Allison, right
Wade
winger?
Allison.
How about number 9 prospect Isaac Ratcliffe, drafted in 2017?
All right.
It seems
These are
like
probably
Mike
extremely young players,
Vecchione.
though.
Mike Vecchione was an undrafted free agent. He's the number 8. I mean, Jay O'Brien. I'll give Jay O'Brien a pass. He was drafted in 2018.
Vecchione was one of those college
Yeah.
guys, wasn't he?
Herman,
Vecchione.
Herman Rupstoff was drafted in 2016. Oscar Lindblom was drafted in 2014. He's just on the team now. Am I going to have to wait 3-4 more years for these prospects to make the NHL? Is that how it works in the NHL, Brad?
Well, keep in mind they're 18 years old, so it could take 2, 3, 4 years for them to get to the NHL. Yeah,
That's I mean, that's
that could very well
then what's
be.
the
but
point of this? What am I supposed to give this team? 15 fucking years to turn it around?
the problem with their team right now is that you've got the veterans, and I've been telling you this for how many years now. Your veterans are all 29, 30, 28 years old. Voracek, Giroux, Simmons, they're like
Giroux,
28.
Simmons,
They're like
all
28,
guys
29,
that I would
30 years old. By the time these guys are ready to come up and play, they're going to be too old.
They're too old now.
But they're
going to
really be. They're really going to. But they're going to be. They're not going to be able to really do much of anything. I mean, especially Simmons. Simmons is a very limited player. I mean, he's great to stand in front of the net and score.
That's all he does.
Goals.
He gets garbage goals. He stands in front of
Yeah.
the net.
But
He's the antithesis of the modern NHL. I hate Wayne Simmons.
Yeah, but
I
that's
hate
not.
Wayne
That's not.
Simmons.
Every team needs a garbage collector, though.
I don't care. I need a garbage collector that can also do more than stand in front of the net.
You need
Maybe
other players around him.
multi-dimensional players.
You need
No, you
other
don't
players
need.
around
You need
him that can do that.
multi-talented, multi-dimensional players. Not a guy who just stands in front of the net and just gets garbage goals. It's not 1994.
It can still work, though. You could get garbage goals.
But
you
it
just
doesn't.
Well,
It
sure
doesn't.
it does. If
You
you have a
watch
guy-
these good teams. You watch these good teams play. They skate up and down the ice. They score 4 or 5 goals a night.
But you also
and they
have-
have
but you
4
also have-
lines who can score.
But you also
the
have.
Flyers have 1 line that can score.
But you also can have.
if that.
But that's the problem. All these teams also have. The good teams have 4 lines that
Guys
can
who
score,
can
but
skate.
they also have each line has something a little bit different, which makes them hard to defend. Like some teams have fast lines that are just that they're terrific going up and down.
I mean,
others are really good in the corner and can wear you down.
but I don't
Others
understand.
have hit guys that hit you and beat you up.
But
and
it's so frustrating to watch the Flyers. You only need 9 good players to have 3 good lines.
no, you're right about that. And your
How
fourth line
hard
could
is
be,
that?
and
That
your fourth
can't
line
be
could
that
be
hard.
your fourth line could be 3 tough guys. I mean, there's nothing wrong with playing
How
like that
can
too.
how can this administration not be able to find 9 guys that can compete
Offense
in
is
today's
not,
NHL?
Offense is not their problem.
And you need six
can't.
defense.
Well, that's
3
that's your
defensive
problem.
teams. Is that usually the standard 3 or you need 4?
No, you need 4 really good defensemen.
No, I'm talking about like how many they pair up. Like there's
Oh,
2 defensemen on
two-
the ice at the same
Yeah,
time.
yeah.
You need 6 guys.
Yes, every team plays 6 defensemen. Your 5th and 6th
So that's
defenseman.
15 guys.
Yeah, your 5th and 6th defensemen, generally speaking, are guys that you're going to spot. So they're going to play maybe 8 to 9 minutes.
And then
a
you
game.
need 1 goalie. So you need 16 guys who can play. In the whole world, you got to find 16 guys
16 quality
who
players.
can play.
Actually, you need 4 real good defensemen and 9 real good forwards. Actually, no, you need 6 real good forwards. You need 4 real good defensemen
And a goalie.
and a goalie.
So that's 11 people.
You need 11 real good players, and then the rest of the guys that you have, you can get as role players
Well-
because you can't afford to pay all those guys.
I'm
that's
just confused. Of all
of the
the
salary
people
cap.
that play hockey in the world, I mean, finding 11 dudes that can ball out, that shouldn't be that tough for the alleged hockey acumen of a Ron Hextall or a Dave Hextall.
Well, he's having problems drafting defensemen, that's for sure.
But
He's drafting defensemen that can.
you don't have to
skate and
draft
score,
them.
but-
You need to make good decisions on your trades
Well, you have
and
to
your
make
free agents.
See, it's more than it's building a hockey team is
you
more
need
than
4
just
defensemen to
yeah,
play.
Building
You just
a hockey
told me.
team is more than just drafting. You've also got to make some solid trades. You have to pick up some good free agents along the way. No team is ever going to be built just one way. You have to build 3 ways, just like in baseball and football and every other sport. It takes 3 ways to do it. You got to get the right you have to bring in a couple of good free agents. You have to draft well, and you have to make some smart
I can't
trades.
believe we just talked about hockey for an hour. I can't believe I was that worked up about the Flyers.
Yeah.
I talked about hockey for an hour.
Yeah, and I
can't
didn't
believe
even.
it. I
And
can't
I didn't say
believe it.
one. I barely said one word about the stinky Rangers.
Flew by.
Yeah.
Absolutely flew by.
And boy, do they!
That's
stink.
how bad this is. That's how much attention that I think the Flyers need right now. They are that bad. Frank,
they're-
you watch the games, right?
Yeah, I watch
You're a
them.
hockey guy.
They defensively need a kick in the ass.
Yeah, absolutely. And
I
I
mean-
think it all
But I
starts
mean,
with Hackstall.
They only scored 1 goal.
They may
Yeah.
need,
That's not good offense.
They
not.
may need a coach that is a bully instead of.
This
I
team
think
definitely needs to wake up.
they
It's-
They may need a bully
so what's
coach.
your,
I mean,
what do you do?
Well,
Do
you have
fire
too nice
the
a
coach?
guy.
Do you get does Hextall go? What do you do, Frank?
As of right now, Hackstall's seat is very hot.
I don't
very,
think he
very
comes.
How hot? How many degrees?
I think he stays in L.A. if they don't win one of
I'm
these next 3
Yeah,
games.
exactly. I mean, it's
Yeah,
probably to the point of boiling.
boiling.
Nearing boiling
So
point.
Dave Hackstall's seat is not quite 212 degrees,
But to the
It's
boiling
getting to
point.
it's getting.
Like,
it's
yeah.
getting.
208 degrees.
Yeah, 208 degrees,
Something
maybe
like that.
209 degrees, somewhere.
Frank, at what point do you think Hackstall, if the Ron Hextall will wait before he lets Hackstall go? Will he wait for that soft period in the schedule and see if they come back and get a hot streak
If-
playing that soft? That's because they.
I mean,
You have that
if
soft spot
nothing
there.
happens by, I mean, the one test would be
How
the West
about-
Coast road trip.
how about how
And then
long?
they come home to a home and home with the Coyotes.
Then at home and home with the Coyotes, if you screw
if they
that
don't
up,
spank,
yeah.
if they don't spank the Coyotes twice,
Yeah,
I think at
that's
that
it.
point, I think that might be. I
Well,
think
what
that might
about
be
this? Let's. I think the coach is not effective. I think it's 100% warranted that they get rid of their coach. Whether they do or not, I guess we'll see. At what point do you get rid of Hextall? All he wants to do is sit back and tell us
Yeah.
about these players. Oscar
Well,
Lindblom
that's-
got drafted in 2014.
That's on the owner.
He just made the NHL now. Are you telling me I'm going to have to wait, 3 or 4 more years
Yeah,
for
I'm
That's
not
on
waiting.
the owners. That's
Morgan
on the owners.
Frost to be good? I mean, how ridiculous is that?
That's on the owners to tell you, tell the
Exactly.
general manager that we're willing to spend some money. Go out and bring us
right.
go out and bring us a couple of quality
Sixers-
defensemen.
Exactly.
We'll spend
the
the money.
Sixers process is different because you can pluck an 18-year-old
Yeah,
off
you-
Duke
you can
and
put
he
it-
can go
yeah,
in
you
and
can
he
put in
can
an
average
18-year-old.
15 and 10.
Yeah.
Yeah, but hockey, you can't just do that.
Yeah.
But
First
how
of all,
long?
these guys will get.
But
these
how
guys
long
will
am
get
I
their-
supposed to tolerate
their
Ron
brains beat
Hextall
in.
not doing
Yeah,
anything but draft
my-
players
my-
and tell me to be patient? How long am I supposed
my
to accept
patience
that?
with Elliott and Neuwirth is run thin. It's time.
Run thin. That's
To-
the understatement of the century.
it's
Those
to-
guys are horrible.
They're horrible. They are past their prime. They're horrible.
Did
They get
Did
hurt.
they ever have a prime? I mean, let's be real
Well,
about it. They-
Elliott did.
Elliott
back in
did.
2008 to 2010.
Yeah. Elliott for
Elliott
like
for
a
the last
year.
8 years, for like the last
Yeah.
8 years, Elliott's been horrible.
Yeah.
That's why he had a horrible year when he was with the Flames, and then the
Yeah.
Flyers went and picked him up.
But
which-
this is like
which
this
was
is
hard
like
to
watching
figure.
the Sixers lose on purpose
Exactly.
for 4 years in a row instead of just 2.5.
All right,
or
what
3.
now? We're gonna lose for Hughes and then wait for him to get called up by 2025? Like really?
You're not gonna-
I don't.
listen,
I don't want it.
the
I don't
bottom
want it.
line, Frank. The bottom line is they are not bad enough to lose for Hughes.
Yeah, that's true.
They're
They're not that bad.
But should they trade? Should
they'll
they
be-
trade?
They'll
their-
get the 14th pick in the draft.
Should they tank
No.
to get this guy?
No,
Is he that good or no?
he is that good, but I don't.
Well,
think,
then let's
but they're
pull a
not that.
Sixers.
But they're not.
Is
that
he a
bad.
guy that's gonna
I just don't think it's
get
worth
drafted and like Nolan Patrick? They picked him and then he's right on the team.
Right.
Right. Oh, when he gets drafted, okay.
Is he a guy like that,
He's-
or is
he's
he
a
a guy
co-
like
he's-
Oscar Lindblom, who's
No,
the
he's-
5th prospect in the organization?
No,
It takes him 4 years to get
he's
to the
expected.
league.
He's expected to be the next Connor McDavid. He's expected to come right into this.
Then I'm
league,
in.
Get
Trade
80,
Giroux,
90
trade
points.
Voracek, lose every game on purpose, and get this guy. Why? Why not? Is this team going to
Oh,
do
man.
anything? Seriously.
I don't know if the fans
They're-
would put up with.
They're,
would put
they're a
up with that.
fringe. At best, they're a fringe playoff team. I
The fact
I
that
don't know.
the fact
I
that
don't know what
Flyers
this
I don't
fuck
think you
is
could
here.
get them that. You could make them that bad.
I don't
The
think
only
they could be
hockey
that
The
bad.
comments-
Detroit Red Wings, the New York Rangers, and the Ottawa Senators
Yeah.
are piss poor teams right now.
The
I don't
Flyers are piss
think- I don't-
poor.
No, they're not as bad as those teams. They got a lot more talent. than
Brad,
they
we've
do.
been talking about hockey for an hour. The only comments we've gotten are from Roska, who's a Ducks fan. Flyers Nation is fed up. Flyers Nation is complacent.
They don't
There
even
needs to
wanna
be
talk
major
about it.
major
Yeah.
changes
Yeah.
with the orange and black.
Well, I know the hockey happy hour. I know they're gonna be. I know they're gonna be talking about it on Thursday.
Are they Flyers fans or?
Well, let's see. Since Sudi is a pure Flyers fan. Clink is a Penguins fan. Brian is a Flyers and a Ducks fan, so that's why him and Roscoe are like chill like that. And then Brodo's just the producer.
How can you like two teams?
Because it's America, and you're allowed
I
to
think
do whatever
I think
you
with
want, bro.
Daly, I think it was like from. I could be wrong. It could be from his love for the movies, the Mighty Ducks movies,
Okay.
growing up.
Okay. I mean, listen, I honestly, I do kind of pull for Calgary. My dad grew up in Calgary.
Yeah.
He was from Canada, and he was born in Canada, and, he was a big Calgary Flames
There,
fan.
we
until he
just got
passed away, but,
Bryce Blackwell just commented.
Hey!
Our first Flyers comment. We talked about the Flyers for the whole second, pretty much the whole second hour. We
The
just got
Flyers
the first
are
comment.
bad.
Flyers fans are fed up. They're complacent.
Yeah.
And that's more dangerous than them lashing out and booing and throwing stuff on the ice. You know a relationship's over when you stop fighting.
Exactly.
That's when you know a relationship's
Yeah,
over.
I think you might
This
be right.
relationship is over with the GM and the coach. Sports Hounds, be back with you next week. We're out.